Welcome into the Cam and Strick podcast, episode number 112.
Oh, 112. Oh, my God. There's sick players who went, no. 112.
Dude, why do you do that every time? This is starting to get annoying.
Oh, is it annoying?
And so people are like saying to me, I'm glad you're calling Cam out because it's not funny to say that at the beginning of the show.
Well, I just did it.
Yeah, you just did it again.
And there is a 112. It's like a referee or something.
Maybe.
So he's probably really good.
Maybe,
so
maybe,
you made a fucking sick call on that.
Would you ever want to be a ref?
No.
No?
No. Well, no. Well,
because listen, I don't think it's too late. Like they're looking for referees.
Dude, I can't move my fucking hips, homie.
Either can
I can't move my hips.
No,
I know.
No, that's part of the problem. My lower body,
Andy,
is
I know you
so
can't.
tight.
I can't move my hips. Like Peelsy's open hips up 10 and 2 behind the net. Like, whoa, I can see the ice.
Like, I don't know about that, man. Like,
you have to do that.
NHL referees, you act like they're like the most graceful skaters out there.
They kind of are.
Some
and the linies are. They are, man.
The lines, they get going. You ever watch them?
I like how you're fucking beaking guys. No, wait, time
Who's
out.
beaking
I
who?
like how you're saying that they're not the best. Yeah, they are. They're unbelievable skaters. And they don't have a balancing beam, which is their stick. So they have to get out of the way. They got a 10 and 2, baby. They got to do this. I'll tell you this right now. If I was able to 10 and 2, because my growings don't work that way. Maybe my legs are too big.
They spend a lot of time trying to get out of the way.
So
I get it.
If I was able to 10 and 2, I'd probably have like 2 or 3 more assists a year.
Okay, but they are looking for players who played like competitive hockey who didn't make it.
To ref.
Yes,
and they could take.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And you know what? I'd rather you be a shitty skater than not know how to deal with a coach or not know how to deal with the players.
You ever watch what the linesman responsibility is at the beginning of each period?
Yeah.
They like check the net.
Yeah,
make sure there's no holes in the net.
Yeah, I played, Andy.
And they're very serious about that. They check the net.
What else happens?
Well,
in games,
you're not out yet there.
Andy, what else happens?
You're still in the.
No, I've watched a lot from the press box too, bro.
Well, that's true.
So tell me, what else do you do? Do you tape sticks before you go on the ice?
The linesmen?
You put your skates
on?
They
don't have
too?
skates. Or they don't have sticks.
Define the process of getting dressed. Do I put my jock on first?
Well, here's the thing. Because if you ever watched the Gretzky video back in the day,
yeah,
he would put his skates on before his pants.
Very bizarre.
That's why I did that. That's why I did it. And Ty does that too.
That's fine. That's not a weird thing.
No, it's not.
That's not a weird thing.
No.
You know what I don't like?
And it's easier to like.
Can I give you a pet
tie
peeve?
Your skates that way.
I'll give you guys a pet peeve that I absolutely hate. I hated the guys in the locker room that would come in and take a shit in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
And then wait.
Terrible.
And then wait. And then guys would just go one after another, after each other. And they just go in there
like no big deal.
No big deal.
It's my turn.
Like the smell is just like not there. It's like you're stinking. I get mad at guys for even shitting in the locker room at the later age in the minors.
Isn't that like a no-no?
No, that's a yes. A no-no is shitting on a plane or the bus. Remember, I almost fought the bus driver in L.A. and Chaser laughed at me. I'll tell you that story in a second.
Let's talk about that.
Let me explain my situation here. I never understood the shitting after another. Like
you would not want to go in there after somebody.
Hell nah.
Hell no.
I don't even piss in that motherfucker.
Do you know?
I go to the women's bathroom.
Oh no! I do that too. I
go to the fucking women's bathroom.
You gotta find. That's always the cleanest spot to go.
I can walk in that motherfucker with fucking pecan pie and drop that shit and be like, I'll eat this motherfucker. Dude.
Oh, because it's so nice and clean in there.
But one time a lady did walk in.
Well, see, that's creepy.
But but I'm down in the underbelly by the Zamboni in the women's bathroom, which there probably shouldn't be a women's bathroom down there anyway. But that's where I'm going.
No, there's a lot of people who think that way
in Albany, and I had to write a letter to the office.
An apology.
And apologize. Yeah. And she wasn't.
And what did you say? I am sorry for shitting in your bathroom.
Clean motherfucking bathroom. I'm sorry.
It's clean.
But no, that was under Lou and Chris Lamarillo. So
they knew you did that?
Because I kind of
Wait, you got caught?
Yeah, she was in there. And she walked in. I'm like, I'm sorry. She's like, oh my word. And she leaves, and I'm like, and then I had to clean up.
And then it gets to Lou.
And I walk out there, and I'm like, sorry. She's like, no, it's okay. She's like walking the other way. I'm like, so I had to tell on myself.
That's terrible.
I told on myself.
Yeah.
I was older.
You're like the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, I was older.
We were in Ovi's room watching the football game. Yes, we did.
I might even told Chris, because Chris Lamarillo, I love him.
He's with New York now.
He is such an awesome guy. I love that. He was so good to me. I'm like, I might have shit in the fucking women's bathroom, and a woman might have seen me do it. He's like, okay. So I'm like, I'm
glad you came clean.
I did.
I'm glad
but I fucked up on that. That's one of my pet peeves.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that you came clean.
But the other story real quick was we're in L.A., And I didn't want to shit on a plane because the Stewies were really hot, and they knew if I went back there and shit,
you can't do that.
And they'd be like,
anyway.
Cam, I don't want to bang you tonight. So I'm like, no, this was young days. Young day, Cam. This is no, I'm just joking.
With the Stewies?
I'm just
know
joking.
what goes on.
I'm joking.
But now you're spreading rumors.
But seriously, though, if you're thinking about doing that, then you're like, I still don't want to shit back there because I might want to make out with them later. Let's say a makeout sesh. How's that?
Okay.
Makeout sesh.
Okay.
So what I did was the bus pulled up, and there was a rugged guy driving the bus. And I'm like, waiting for everybody to leave. I'm like, yeah. They're jumping on the plane. I'm like, I'm going to shit real quick. And I went back there, and I come out of the bathroom, and he goes, what are you doing? I go, nothing. He goes, did you just wait to shit? And he yelled at me. And the guys getting on the plane were...
Oh, he yelled at you.
Yelled at me in front of all the guys in Anaheim. Chaser is the last one out, laughing his ass off. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck you want me to do? I go, he's like, you fucking, I got to clean this fucking shit out.
Oh, no.
Yes. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry, dude. And he's like, and Chaser's like, what are you going egging it on?
Oh, was he?
Yeah, like an asshole.
Of course he was.
Yeah,
of course he was.
I'm like, fuck you. And, oh, my God. Okay. So I'm like, sorry about that.
So whenever you're on the road,
let
me just give a little advice to the people out there. Whenever you're on the road, it could be a road trip or even if it's like driving around locally and like you need to go. Like, because I'm not really into like restaurants, gas stations. I don't know how people do that.
If you go into a restaurant, you're fucking guts.
I don't know how.
I'll go to hotels, baby.
Dude, so
I'll go to
that's what you do.
hotels.
I think I told you that before. You got to go to a hotel. You find a nice hotel. Find a Ritz-Carlton.
In the lobby, no one's in there.
Find a Four Seasons.
Yes.
Where they're like super nice. There's like carpet inside the bathroom.
I walk in there like I have a place.
And every single stall is like an individual apartment.
Yes.
And it's like, you don't even care if anybody walks in. They can't see your feet or anything.
Good.
Oh, you're just like hanging out. They got washcloths in there. And
motherfucker, I make phone calls in that mode.
So that's what you do. You find the Ritz-Carlton. You find the Four Seasons. You find a nice-ass hotel. That's what you do when you're on the road.
Or you find that fucking gas station in the middle of Salem, Missouri.
No, you don't.
And they give you the key. And you're like,
and you want to touch that key?
But what am I going to do? Shit my goddamn pants? Get on with yourself.
Maybe.
No.
Okay,
no.
when you're at the gas station.
I'll get hepatitis.
And they hand you the key, and now we got Corona and everything else going around.
That's the thing. You hold it with your shirt. Then you burn your shirt.
No.
Not in your car, though.
You don't take
because
the
your car will burn down.
take the key. You know what you do?
You go shit in the woods like a bear? You've never done that in your life.
I'll go behind the... Oh, no, I shit in the woods several times. I lived in the woods. I told you that.
Clayton?
I lived in the woods.
In the non-wealthy part of Clayton?
If you got to go number one, dude, you just go behind the gas station and go in the field, dude. That's what you do.
I'll piss in a goddamn Gatorade bottle if push comes to shove.
And just drive around with it.
And push comes to... Yeah, just like my construction working some bitches do. You don't have any of those. I got construction working motherfuckers.
Wait a minute. No, I know people that own construction companies.
Can I tell another story? Can I tell another story?
Go for
about
it.
chewing and how it sucks? I'm in the car with the construction worker, and we're cruising for some... I don't know what the fuck... He's maybe helping me with something. And I see an empty bottle. I'm like, oh, cool.
Remember Brian Sutter's listening to this, just so you know.
And I get an empty bottle. Sutsy, you've probably
Sutsy knows. He knows what's up in Sylvan Lake.
I love that guy, and he loves us, by the way.
Can I get a flannel shirt, Brian? I forgot to ask you for one. If you could send me a flannel shirt and a pair of boots, go ahead.
2-second story. All y'all chewers out there. You're in your construction worker, the good old boy doing construction roofing. Mm-hmm. See that bottle down there? That's not water. Don't take that and spit in it because you're going to open up the cap and you're going to be like this.
What are you? What's going on? What are you doing? Why are you making that noise? Stop doing that.
No. And then you're going to start sweating. Then you're going to sweat, and you're going to puke on yourself. And then your buddy's going to laugh at you, and you're going to get out of the car, and he's like, I piss in that fucking thing. That's my pissing bottle. Fuck you, Cam. That's what they say.
What about the Johnny on the spots? Like if you're at a fair or something like that.
Who goes to goddamn fairs?
Well, where else do you see them? I mean, you see them on construction sites and stuff like that.
And all that
yeah. So the Johnny on the spot. Would you go on one?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I think I've done that during the Mardi Gras blues party.
Well, there you go. Oh, yeah, they're all over there. St. Patrick's Day parades,
like, what are you doing
whatever.
in the bathroom that long, Cam? I'm actually taking it down.
Are you?
Okay. I'm actually...
That's debatable.
I'm actually going to the bathroom.
Cam, you were in that Johnny on the spot for quite some time. Why are you in there so long?
No, I'm going to the bathroom.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Wait, what am I supposed to do in there? You go in the bathroom? We're going to hang out?
You gotta hold it. You got to hold it.
Hey, again, the construction workers, though, man, some of those dudes have to shit in the nastiest fuck areas, and they're just like, yeah. Like,
I know. It never comes at a good time, does it?
Can't do it, man. Can't do it. What a great topic to start the show.
I'm sorry, Brian. Let me apologize to the entire Sudsy
all these
clan.
cats get what we're saying, though, Andy.
Hey,
They're all good old boys,
These are real topics, man.
We talk with the good old boys,
This is what life is all about, man. This is real life stuff. Let me just say this to people, because, there may be some of our listeners are like, okay, Brian Sutter, not very familiar.
Should be.
But, if you didn't grow up in St. Louis, maybe you don't look at him. You maybe look at him as the head coach of the Calgary Flames or something, or the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah. No, dude, this dude was an absolute legend and arguably the greatest captain in the history of hockey, certainly up there.
Well, he's got his number retired.
And people are going to say, like, Mark Messier and whatever. Hey, listen, Messier belongs on the list, but so does Brian Sutter.
No, I agree with you on that. And everybody you talk to, and, like, we hang out with all the alumni. We do all the events and all that stuff, and Sutsy's not really around that much, but God, he gets talked about.
No, he's never around. He came in for the alumni game.
I remember that. No,
for
I
the
took a
Winter
picture with him
Classic
for the
and stuff
Gretzky
like that.
thing too. They did a Gretzky, and he was there. And then for the Holy thing too.
He came in for the Holy retirement.
I remember that Holy retirement. We hung out with him.
He didn't come in for Bobby Plager's retirement, and it's funny because he mentioned it. Yep. He mentioned the bull sale that was going. That he has these bull sales where he probably makes like.
I should have told him that you don't eat
a couple
meat.
$1 million
He's
bucks.
Like, what a little fancy lad.
Well, I maybe eat one of his. And I certainly would eat the black Angus named Strick. I may have to eat that one. If he sends that to me, I may eat that one.
You're going to eat the grass
if it's grass-fed, dude.
They are. What do you think? They're fucking... Okay. They're eating their own meat?
Well, some of them have a lot of antibiotics and shit like that. If it's clean... Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Dude, they're all shot up with like antibiotics.
Yeah, I want that. I want the fucking steroid ass motherfucker.
Do
I want
you?
that. Fuck yeah.
No, you don't.
I want the Kobe beef when they like massage their fucking meat. So I'm like, I want to taste that.
You don't want that. You want
tell me what I want.
You want the
Andy.
grass fed.
Tell me what I want.
Pure.
You vegetarian.
You don't want like a farm raised piece of fish either. You want wild fish.
No doubt about that. No doubt, but they're still eating grass, though. You said you don't want grass-fed.
No, you want grass-fed.
Oh, yeah. I said I don't want the ones eating the bullshit. No. I'm not going to McDonald's.
No, that's what I'm talking about, dude.
I'm getting
you want the grass-fed, pure, like, whatever.
Dude, I got sponsors from fucking butcher shops, baby. I go in there and get fat-ass tomahawks.
No, that's what you want. I'm just telling you that, yeah.
Thank you. Let me write that down. Andy, the vegetarian, tells Cam how to eat meat. Let me see.
I'm just making sure you know.
Good Lord almighty, dude.
And maybe I'm
going to shove a tomahawk down your mouth one of these days, and you're going to eat the fucking bone.
If it's my own, if it's my own steak, because now that I have a steak,
whose would it be?
Well, my own guy. Like my own guy's cruising around Sylvan Lake right now, who was just born just now.
You need your own cow.
And you hear Brian Sutter talk about this at the end of the interview.
That's privilege.
While we're doing the interview, can you imagine that my little Stricky was born during the interview? The little calf. 2 of them were born. Is it calves or calf? What is it? One?
Andy, I don't know.
What is it? Okay.
Andy, I don't know.
2 calves were born during the show. He's naming them Cam and Strick. If he slices and dices Stricky up and sends it to me grass-fed, I may eat that son of a bitch. So I may eat that little guy. Okay. And I'm sure he will taste good.
Andy's trying to be me.
Okay.
Eating steak and saying sound bitch.
Well, trying to get your attention.
You're trying to be me. Look, I'm telling you, man, that's a hard job. Sutsy's got going.
Dude, he doesn't have full-time staff either.
Like that dude's like fucking grinding it, and he talked to us for like 3
he looks
hours.
Like he could play like 15 and a half minutes tonight.
3 cows died of old age because how long he talked. That was supposed to be a joke. 3 cows died of old age. That's how long he talked to us for.
Don't joke around about that. That's not a funny joke.
That's a joke, though.
In Viking Alberta, they will like.
He knows who they are.
They will like tar and feather you for that.
You kept asking them questions and fucking.
Sutsy, listen. But he says it numerous times in the interview. I've never been asked that question. These are questions I've never been asked before.
He's ever done a fucking interview, dude. You could tell because
he doesn't answer his phone.
He talked like I could picture him in front of the fire
with a red flannel,
drinking like whiskey, and then have all these like fucking badass things on the wall. Like he's Kevin Costner off of Yellowstone.
Yeah, but he has a lot of hockey memorabilia inside on the ranch. And each section of the ranch is like, we were talking about this last night. Each section of the ranch, and he's got like several sections. You know how many acres each section is? Like he's one of like probably the most successful cattle ranchers in all of Canada.
It's all the good beef and all that.
Dude, he's like
Andy, you know how irrelevant you would be on that
He's
farm?
like the Elon Musk of cattle ranching.
Do you know how?
Does that make sense?
Do you know how irrelevant
I'm
you would
thinking
be?
about getting in on the business.
If you
actually.
got in on that business, like, Andy, listen, okay, the stalls are over there. Clean that fucking shit out real quick, and we'll deal with it. And you're like, I have Versace on. I don't go into places like this. This is meat. I don't eat meat. What's going on here? Where am I? Andy, can you like do this? I don't know how to drive this. Why is that?
I could drive that.
No, you can't.
Sudsy has anyway, each section, as I was saying, you know how many acres each section is? You don't, because I know. I'm asking you.
You don't even know what an acre is. What is it?
680 per section, dude. And he's got several sections.
680 acres per section.
And he's got 700.
Oh yeah, he's got a shit.
700 plus of cattle just cruising around, including little Stricky, that black Angus.
That you're not going to eat.
Dude,
I'm going to eat that bad boy. And I'm going to eat right in front of your face.
No.
I'm going to be like, I don't even cook it.
I'll let Ty, Chloe, and Ivy have a little piece. You each get a piece.
Could Ty please have some meat? He's probably like, Daddy, can I grow? Daddy, can I grow? No. Eat grass. Eat grass.
Grass-fed. It's grass-fed.
Grass-fed.
So I'm really I'm looking to get involved with the business that we have going on right now. Listen, awesome. The Sutter family is like the first family of hockey. I hope everyone understands that.
The OG.
Now I even like Brandon Sutter a little more after doing this interview because he has the Sutter name.
Yeah,
and he plays in Vancouver. So like, dude, we may have to get him on just to talk about the family tree.
We have a lot of places to go. A lot of people invited us, although we invite ourselves.
We do, but then they say yes.
But they're like, yes.
I know, it's like Jovo's waiting for us right now.
We have a long trip.
He's like, where are you guys?
Dino, Jovo Cop.
Then we got Joey Koser. We're going to the cabin.
We're going to the cabin.
We're chopping wood.
Oh God, Joey Koser's gonna be so annoyed with you. He's gonna be like, oh, Andy, pick that gun up. You're gonna be like, I don't do that.
I don't do it.
I don't do that.
I don't do guns.
If somebody breaks my house, I'm gonna be like, take my children. You could have them. I don't shoot people. I don't blame you for that. But if they come in your house, that's a different story, brah. That's a different story.
Dude, I got other ways.
Oh, yeah? You can slap them? You can shoot a puck at them? Your shot's not very hard. What are you going to do? What is it? Your alarm system going to beat it up? Fuck out of here, man.
Well, yeah.
Like, I'm not a gun guy either, to be honest with you. Like,
no,
I don't
you
brag
can't.
like
I don't like this.
No, but I do.
I don't like you having guns. I don't trust you with the guns.
I ain't going to get it out in front of you.
I don't even know how we went from gas stations to Johnny on the spots.
Yeah, that's what we do in this
to
podcast.
This to now COVID.
Oh, do you want us to be buttoned up?
Well, COVID is going through the league right now.
Dude, we gotta talk about Brian.
We're gonna get into Sudsy.
Yeah,
but listen, the COVID situation. Do you think it's best? Get it out of the way.
Andy, I don't know.
What
do I fucking look like?
Well, I'm Dr. Fauci.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Well, you're the same size as him, and you probably throw the baseball like him. But here's the deal. Yes, you're as athletic as he is.
But you know I played center field. Did I tell you that?
No, you did.
Yeah, center field.
Center field?
Yeah. Or first base. I was a lefty.
You played rugby and everything.
No, I never played rugby. I never got into that. Like, I don't know.
Well, they probably wanted you.
Well, tell me this.
No, I'm not going to tell you anything.
Why do people get into sports
Fauci,
like that? Like
I don't
rugby.
know.
Is that a fun game to play? Doesn't look
actually,
fun.
My grandfather started it in Brentwood, to be honest with you.
And where?
He was a shit-kicking son
Brentwood.
of a bitch.
Brentwood.
Yeah, Brentwood, Missouri. He started the rugby team there in 1960.
Oh, cool.
I could be completely wrong on that.
You probably are.
But I'm just saying anyway because he's cool.
Okay, so it's going through like teams.
Yeah. Is it good to get it early? I don't goddamn know. Can you get it again? Maybe. I don't know. So is it good to get it early? I don't know because maybe you can get it again. So if you get it early and then again, then it both fucking sucks. So it's a double whammy.
But here's what the science has told us based on the research.
Told us a lot of things, bro.
So the antibodies stay in your body for about 3 months or so.
Oh, yeah? What else?
Yeah.
What else, Doc?
Well, the numbers are going down. Except, listen, I was talking to Carlo Koliakovo. Yeah, I'll give you a shout out.
He's a doctor.
Dr. Koliakovo. Yeah. Dude, and Mirko from Keep It Handsome. Let's talk to him today.
That's a different goddamn story. I'll listen to him.
Doctor too.
Carlo talking to me about fucking science.
And listen, all our friends up there in Canada, Saskatchewan and like Alberta, like the shit kickers.
Fucking bad
Ontario, Quebec.
Bad boy. All the shit-kicking Canadian buddies.
Dude.
Love you.
They can't do anything right now. Do you know what's completely shut down?
Know.
There's like curfews that give you like a $5,000 ticket if you're like outside of your house at like 8 o'clock.
Dude, it's going to get down to zero.
Do you know that if you go south, which I imagine it means like the States, and then you come back, it's a mandatory government quarantine in a government authorized hotel, 3 nights, minimum $2,000.
Like
then you have to go home and quarantine for another 14 days. And you can't even go into like another person's house or anything.
Well, maybe the deaths are a lot down.
No, they had like
there.
1,000 deaths, I think, a couple days ago in Ontario.
It's crippling
or something.
them, though. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
We talk to businesses up there all the time, and it's crippling them. Now, I'm not saying that's not worthy because you don't want people dying, okay? So you could always kind of come back from that, I guess, although there's got to be some sort of balance. We don't need to get into the details because certainly I'm not a doctor, and certainly you're not a goddamn doctor.
No, I am.
Although you look like fucking Fauci. But very younger than him because you do look young. I chirp you, but I got to throw you. You look very young. And your teeth are fucking white.
Handsome.
God
young
damn
and,
it.
young and handsome.
I wish your teeth were like yellow.
You look like Andre Agassi.
I look like shit.
Who
Man, that's a compliment.
was just found on an island, rescued off an island.
My hair's
after
really
like
going.
3 weeks.
Hans Wyman called me today. The back of my head, though, the cul-de-sac's getting deep.
I think it's bigger than a cul-de-sac.
It's a cranium. No, it's like an asteroid hit. Like the asteroid in Arizona.
Yes.
You know the one that hit like 50,000 years ago.
The meteor showers and shit, dude. I've seen those because I lived in Arizona.
I
lived up in the 7,000 elevation up there in Flag.
That's not the analogy I'm trying to make.
They had meteors. You ever been through a meteor shower?
Andy, we all have.
I've been like
Andy,
I've slept in like a crater, like a meteor crater. Oh yeah.
Yeah. With a bunch of dudes. Was that cool?
No, it was like all different types of, like whatever, you just
dime pieces.
Lots of
instant models everywhere. I mean,
dude,
seriously,
you could not,
we've all sat out and watched.
So
my point is
narrow, man. You're so narrow.
Well, my point is like we've all sat out and looked at stars. So it's like we're dime pieces around you. Like, can you enhance the story? Or you hang out with a couple of your buddies, which is cute, but was there anything else to the story? We all look at the sky. Hell, I'm going to look at it today. And then my wife's going to be there. She's a dime, but I'm still not going to talk about it.
Are you getting stars out where you live? Are there any stars out there?
The wealthy part of St. Albans?
Of Franklin County?
I'm from Franklin County. Shit, there's no mask going on out there. I'll tell you that right now. I went to the gas station out in Franklin County, and I wore a mask, but no one else did.
Oh, really?
But I'm like, you're good, Cam.
Dude, you should.
Like, good, be
so
good.
They don't even wear masks out there?
No, they don't.
I thought maybe that I would get
what do we do? I might write a fucking letter.
I might retire out there one day, and just buy like a retirement house. I couldn't live there now. It's too far. It's way too far out, but it's nice. I'll give you credit. Like it's nice.
Thank you, man.
You're looking at about $200,000 worth of upgrades, but it's nice.
My house is.
You're gonna have to put in some money though.
Of course, man. We save money.
I'm thinking minimum 200 G's, just on the bathroom alone.
My. Well, we have a huge bathroom the size of our studio.
It's bright green.
So it's green.
Or it's forest green.
It's a
Hunter green. What is it?
It's a time capsule because no one was ever in there because there's an old lady so it's a time capsule from 1997.
You're looking at about 200
But it's like the
G's.
nicest thing from 1997, but you're like, okay.
Set up Brian Sutter for us, will you? Like, let people know like who we're interviewing for those who don't know.
He was a hockey player, then a coach, and he's got 7 brothers. One didn't play.
But he was the best one of all. Do you think they say that to be nice or that's
true? Dude, he says a lot of things to be.
Yeah, but
he denounced himself, and I'm like, no.
He said at the time he was a young kid.
Yeah, he might have been better.
He was thinking below the waist.
The oldest
he was thinking below the waist,
Gary,
not above the waist.
Gary,
it's kind of like Cooper. Oh, I didn't know Gary. I couldn't remember it.
Gary,
1 R or 2 R's. Anyway, Cooper Manning.
Gary.
You know Cooper Manning. Like he's the one Manning who didn't make it. I always thought of like Cooper Manning. Like it'd be a great round table to have Gary Sutter and like Cooper Manning. Like what's it like to have like all your siblings like absolute like legends, phenoms.
And you're just I think the Gary aspect of it is like he's just got his mind like he's not in society, man.
But
like, he's out and doing his thing. So
I know.
He's
on the farm. He's on the farm.
Manning guy's like in society, like in the mix. So like he has to talk about being like.
Would it bother you? Say you had like 6 Jansons make it to the show.
I probably do up in Windsor.
Okay. Those are your kids?
That's not funny.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I haven't got the call yet.
519. 6 Jansons like make it to the show. Oh, let's 6 Stricklands make it to the show, okay? And let's say you're the best.
Are you related to him?
Let's say you're the best one. Like put up the best number, score the most goals.
Yeah.
And the other brothers are like having the Stanley Cup party every single summer. Is there any jealousy that would creep in and be like, dude, I'm the sickest player. You're in the best situation.
Andy, put it this way. We're not even related. When you score a goal in the alumni skate, I'm like, fuck this dude.
Yeah,
I don't even like it, although I pump your tires up because I'm a leader. Yeah. I'm Brian Sutter.
Are you a leader?
I'm Brian Sutter.
Have you ever been a captain?
Hell no. I'm a 4th line guy.
Like when you were a kid, though?
No, they had to give it to Cody. I wore the A because I was the ringleader of a lot of things. But I was I was a leader in the room.
Were you?
When you were young?
Like a leader.
Yeah, of course.
Not the entertainer, like the leader.
Dude.
Were you like, let's go?
Are you?
Would you get in somebody's face?
Oh God, yeah.
Would you tell Kobe, like, dude, we need you. Let's go, man.
No. Oh, like that. Oh no, I'm talking about AAA hockey.
No, okay, dude. Yeah.
Might be. Yeah, I was balanced.
Would you say to Zach Parisi, hey, listen?
No. I would do this. Let me explain it to you. Look, you have to have a balance. And Lou knew my balance was good. That's why he had me on there. And so I would be like, Kobe was good friends with me, so I'd be like, get fucking going.
Could you imagine?
I'd sit next to him and be like, get
who would this?
going.
Oh, Kobe, yeah.
Like, I love you,
you
buddy.
tell him that.
Oh, yeah, but not in front of him. Hey, Kobe, you over there? Hey, get your fucking shit together. No, I'd be like, Kobe, hey, get going, buddy.
We need you.
I love you. We're all, dude, you fucking know. You're playing great like that.
Stop grabbing me.
Well, that's I'd grab him.
This guy's grabbing me right now. He's grabbing me. Is that what you did to Kobe?
Yeah, and he liked it.
He probably shut it down the rest of the game. He's like,
he hung out with me all night.
He's like, Peter DeBoer, can you please get Cam off of me?
He's like, can Cam sit next to me everywhere? Because now I'm fucking dominating.
Except in the cab. Oh, should we not?
We had a fun time that night.
Yeah, okay.
And how do you know it was him?
I don't know.
Dick?
I don't know. Should we edit that out?
I don't give a feck.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Remember.
I need to have that on the record.
He was wasted too. Who? What? Not him.
Anyway, all right. Let's get to Brian Sutter, man.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine, dude? Like, one family, 6 brothers make it to the NHL, and they all had great careers.
I know.
And it wasn't like one played like 100 games.
My cousin played hockey. That's close.
Not in the show, though.
No.
This is amazing. So it's
we
great.
love you, though, Derek.
It's great. And he's like one of the most successful ranchers. He probably makes millions of dollars a year ranching.
Probably spends $1 million a year too.
Well, yeah, he's got to feed all of them.
Well, that's the thing. So if you go fucking shit for a year.
We'll try to get you a picture of little Stricky, too, who was just born today. This is amazing that it was just born today.
Oh, God. Little Stricky's Little Stricky's going to like little Stricky because he's going to be like, you ain't going to eat me.
You think those bulls ever, like, attack?
No, actually, he's not going to like you. He's like, you're going to eat all my grass that I'm eating. I'd rather you eat my fucking ass.
You think those bulls, they get angry, they attack and stuff like that?
Probably, Andy.
He leaves.
Why are you asking?
He leaves his phone.
No, Sutsy said he wants you to go up there and milk some of the bulls. So just go up there and work. It might take you a little while.
Is that how they?
But it'll get going. It'll get going.
They sperm them.
Go to the bowl and start milking it. It might take a bit, but once it comes, it's there. And just take it.
And then you sell that. They sell.
Well, I try it first to see what it tastes like.
Oh, you don't do that.
It's good milk.
Listen, they sell the semen, I think, to people who come and buy it. And then you can sell that for like.
That's right, because bulls are. Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, and then you can sell it for like, dude, that's like gold on the dollar.
Gold dust, Andy. Go get.
You know what?
What would you do on a farm? Nothing. You'd be so fucking irrelevant. I'd milk that fucking bull if you wanted me to.
I would have a staff. I'm looking to buy a farm right now. Actually,
no, you're not.
Like out in like Sullivan, Missouri, like somewhere like not too far out.
Andy doesn't even know how to drive a truck. I don't like trucks. They're too big.
Although I could. From Black Tie.
True that, baby.
And you know that.
I wish you would.
You know, I could drive a truck from Black Tie or from Bellman. I could drive a truck from all these dudes.
Yeah, get that fat ass dually. Get that boat that you won't drive.
I don't drive dualies, dude. No one drives dualies.
They do.
It's so unnecessary. No, you don't.
Go on Yellowstone and see if I bet you Brian Sutter drives a dually.
He doesn't drive a dually.
I bet you he does.
You should have asked him.
I bet you
He's
he has a
probably
dually.
got an Escalade, dude.
You're so out of touch.
Bellman.
Oh, maybe.
Bellman probably knew him back in the day.
Maybe Bellman.
How would you describe Dan Bellman to people?
Sexy, and it's his birthday, too.
Today's his birthday. Can you please give him a shout out?
I just did.
Happy birthday, Danny.
I even sent him a shit on Facebook.
Okay, break it down for people who don't know. Dan Bellman, describe Bellman to the people.
Classy. Easy people to talk to. Not going to rip you off. Don't have swinging dicks coming out there and fucking freaking on your girlfriend. Like, I'm cool. I used to be a Parkway North like Andy, and I was a cornerback and did nothing. I'm lying Andy.
I was a right winger. Do you know my freshman year?
I scored goals in Parkway North. I'm like Andy, and my wife's like, "Oh, cool. Are you doing a podcast?
Do you
making Cam money? No.
You know what number I wore my freshman year? Played varsity.
69. That'd be really cool.
No, you want to know a number? 11.
0.
11. Because of one guy.
Brian Sutter, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, thank you. You didn't even know who he was when you were a kid, probably.
You don't want any Andys. They're not even. They're Andys
Andy
now.
Van
you don't
Helleman?
want even Andys at fucking Bellman. You walk into Bellman like he could walk in there and be like, "Oh hi, like,
Leos,
hey, what do you need to do?" No, it's Andys.
Don't say that.
Oh, that's a bad. Don't get me going on that.
Come on,
it'll stick, man. Because you know how the fans are. Them fans.
Oh, dude, I'm getting all these messages.
Get on you, boy.
Dude, about
don't make me start.
People are sending me videos about being the man and stuff like the hilarious.
Oh, I'm gonna get you, boy.
Because didn't the last episode? Didn't you say I'm the man? Would you say the man?
I don't know.
The man.
I don't remember.
Send us the message. Hey, people were sending messages left and right about being the man. It was hilarious. I love our listeners, dude.
Yeah.
They catch on to everything. They hear everything.
Witty people.
They are witty. They know what's up. Okay, as always, the Cam and Strick podcast, including episode number 112, brought to you by CarShield and CarShield.com. Hey, Cam, what's the phone number?
I fucking text my boys over there, dude. Why would I even call them? Because I'm like in the inner. God, why would you put me on the spot like that? 877.
No. Hold on.
Don't
Don't confuse the people. Don't confuse. 800-877. Hold on. No, it's not.
Oh.
800-857-2481. So go ahead. 800-857-2481. Good.
800-857-2481. What's up? I know now.
Plug it in your iPhone today.
I know now.
Or your Android. You ever had an Android?
No. Why would I?
Well, I've had one.
I want to be the odd man out on Group Texas.
You mix it around. That's
cool.
800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM. Yay, CAM. Save 10%.
Shit kicker.
And listen, we're here to save you money, and that's not the only way you save money through CarShield because you're protected. So if shit goes down, you never know when it's going to go. When it will go down. Engine, computer, starter. Guess
sucks.
what? You could be looking at thousands and thousands of dollars, but not if you're protected.
Not at all, baby.
Through CarShield. Nick Hamilton and company,
That's
Steve,
my dog.
everybody over there just making it happen. And we love partnering with these guys, man, over there at CarShield and CarShield.com. Again, mention the promo code CAM, you're going to save 10%. So we want to save you money. Of course, Bud Light Seltzer. BudLight.com, 1 gram of sugar, 100 calories. And they got all different type of flavors, including bold and bubbly lemonade. Have you heard about that?
Dude, that's a good mix.
Yeah,
right
bold,
there,
bubbly lemonade. Bold, bubbly lemonade. So if mango, we want pictures, by the way. Who is mango in your life? What does mango represent to you?
Yeah.
So if mango is 6'4", long flowing red hair.
Hung like a fucking horse.
Who is lemonade?
That could be a woman.
Lemonade is a woman.
That could be a woman.
Lemonade and mango together,
I'll watch that.
They are in a relationship.
I've seen that one on Pornhub.
Mango's
before.
in a relationship with lemonade.
Yes. It's just two sexinesses going at it. You ain't looking away.
No. So BudLight.com. Send us those pictures. Bud Light Seltzer. Somebody was getting on the elevator. They had 1,400 fans at the game the other night screaming. They had a black cherry Bud Light Seltzer. Andy, look. I'm like, even at the games, dude, they're drinking Bud Light Seltzer.
Let them know. Let the people know. They should have said mango.
And I love seeing the fans at the game too, man. Even though it was Creve Coeur versus Afton, it wasn't that bad. Yeah. It's like my little youth hockey games.
The Comet was sweet.
1,400.
They're like, oh, you're playing the Comets, and I'm like bagging all those.
Probably
guys
had
up.
2-2 that night. Probably.
Probably got kicked out of the game for a shift because
You
had a
had a
heart on your jersey. Like, we're tough. We're from Creve Coeur.
Oh man, Bud Light Seltzer, BudLight.com, man, unquestionably good. All right, how about Keep It Handsome? That's what we're talking about. I talked to Mirko today. Dude, he says these new hats that have come out are absolutely sick. And so the Canadians, man, listen, you can order these. You're not going to have to pay that shipping, though, that you may have had to pay.
That's a big
from
deal,
the
man.
camandstrick.com.
Yeah.
I understand that. I actually felt bad. We don't control the shipping costs, but now
know.
you can get it off the it's not yet. So don't send me messages, be like, I don't see it. Well, it's not on there yet. We got the professional pictures we have to do. So these hats are super, super sick. Great quality. Look for those coming up soon. Just where you can get that Fight Ugly hoodie. You know what Mirko's putting together? It's like a package where you get the hat, the Fight Ugly hoodie, shampoo, conditioners, the beard moisturizer, which I use on a daily basis,
waste of time.
And the head balm that I put in my hair every day. I feel good. Listen, man,
your hair's not that great either.
No, it's pretty good.
You got good teeth. I told you that.
Dude, the hair.
Your beard and your hair, they're like subpar. I told you about the cul-de-sac on my fucking head, so we all know that. And my teeth are kind of beat up because I chew. Not that much anymore. Yeah, your hair, he's looking, I mean, your teeth are good.
Okay.
Body's a 3.
Come on.
Your teeth are good.
Okay.
And you got a good brain.
3?
Body?
Come on.
Andy, I seen you in the locker room, bro. I mean, come on.
Probably like an 8. 7?
Out of what? It's all good, man. I'm beat up too.
Exactly. Yeah.
My body's all right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sloppy right now, man.
Okay. Okay, so keep it ugly. Listen, you know what? Keep it ugly. Like a portion of the proceeds
keep
go
it
back.
Handsome too.
Fight ugly. Keep it handsome. You have me all twisted.
Keep it handsome.
You have me all twisted. Listen, a portion of the proceeds
about them
they
being
support
free.
the Montreal Resource Center, which fights the bullies, and here you are bullying, dude.
You bullied me all day.
Lift me up. Call me
You bullied me on the radio the other day.
I should get a 7.
Just because I'm bigger than you.
And you want to give me a 3?
Just because you're smaller.
That's bullying. That's bullying.
I'll tell you this right now. I chirp Andy. Andy chirps me. He bullies me.
That's bullying.
No, what we both do with each other. So you don't have to be just because you're the smaller guy doesn't mean you can't be a bully either. You got that, brah? You could be a bully too. Anybody could be a gosh darn bully.
Well, you get the Fight Ugly hoodie and take a picture and send it to us, please.
Yeah, please do.
Let's go. And get it today. And mention the promo code Cam and Strick. You're going to save 15%. So we're saving you money all over the place.
That's what we do.
Fight Ugly, Mirko. He's Serbian. Kind of like Milan Lucic. They both come from the same heritage.
Yeah, Baltics there, Yugoslavia, Serbia, the other side of
Macedonia.
Italy. Macedonia's right there,
Thank
too.
you.
Actually,
Thank you.
Croatia, very beautiful castles.
Croatia has the most beautiful water ever.
So
I'm looking to do a live show from
Greece
there.
is really good, too.
Greece is nice, too.
Yeah, like the Greek
I
islands.
like Greek food, too.
Yeah. Malta's were, that's like the Greek islands who were game. I could be wrong on this.
No, you're very wrong.
People are
You're very wrong.
You could chirp me on it. This is all popping in my head, but I
No,
believe
this
Malta,
is wrong. This is wrong.
Malta's in kind of like the Greece land
I
down
don't think
there.
that's true. No.
Where they filmed Game of Thrones.
I don't know if that's true.
It's a small little island.
Can we get a fact check? Oh, we're hiring. We're hiring a fact checker.
Okay.
If anybody wants to fact check anything he's saying, go ahead and let us know, and we'll give you a shout out. Okay.
Fine. I'm telling you, it's in a.
We're giving a shout out to Dan Bellman. What up, Dan?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
What are you, like 40? Like, how old are you, Dan? Like, you've been, and he's been like
I think
running.
he's 59.
Is he?
Yeah.
And he's been like, oh, he'll love this interview with Sudsy. This is like right in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
He's gonna love that. This is for you. This is your birthday present, actually.
The shout out. He's
Well,
like, oh, cool.
The interview,
Oh, yeah, you're right.
because he'll love it. He will love it. And you know, everyone loves Dan because like he just gives back to the community, and he has for so long, and he gives back to the sport of hockey. Truly a hockey guy. He's got this beautiful dealership too. Out there in Troy, one side of the street, you got the Cadillac Buick GMC. What's on the other side of the street, Kim?
A bunch of other cars, and you got Buick, you got
That's on. I already said that.
You
side.
got Dodge, you got GMC, and fucking
No, that's on the other side, dude.
man.
One side is Cadillac Buick GMC. On
and
the other side
is
Chrysler,
Dodge, and Jeep, motherfucker. I
and
wanted
Ram.
And I wanted a
gave your
Dodge Ram.
fucking
No,
pink-
stop.
your pink Jeep,
I wanted a Dodge Ram
two-door
dually,
small
just
wheels.
like Yellowstone. I wanted just like fucking Kevin Costner off Yellowstone, the Dodge Ram dually. That's what I want. Boom, right there. And the Buick, I'll take that fucking Buick, just like Tiger Woods did.
They don't even
and I'll
sell.
make it sexy
They don't
as
even
shit.
sell dualies.
And then the Jeep, of course, I want the pink one with the small tires and that small engine. I want that small engine.
with maybe some flames.
Yes. Pink flame.
Flames on the side.
Small tires.
We'll give you a
Small.
little bit of flames.
No rims either, by the way.
Maybe a little striping, little stripe.
I'll get stuck in the rain. That's funny.
Yeah. Great service to the people there are just excellent. And we love everything about Dan Bellman. There's no doubt about it. Of course, you can get hats over there with Victor Hockey, and check that out. Instagram, Twitter at Victor Hockey USA.
People were talking to my little, doing a little Insta stories, and they're like, that hat, baby, that hat.
The hat is
Victor
sick.
Hockey,
What up?
motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Victor Hockey, motherfucker.
You know what's funny? I got
Nothing?
No, I got a message from a listener who says, and he plays hockey at Denver University, and he says, man, I love the show. My tattoo artist owns Victor Hockey.
That's cool.
Isn't that amazing?
I like that.
Dude,
That's cool.
that's what is going on around here. Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy. All right, here we go. And I know you've been waiting for it. Black tie. When I drive black tie. I get what I want. I get when I want it. You want to drive luxury cars and you felt like you could never get into a luxury vehicle? How about an exotic car or an economy car? If you just want to figure out, hey, I got to figure out what my next move is going to be. And I'm looking to have like an all-in-one inclusive situation, all inclusive. Here's the deal, because with Drive Black Tie, you get the app. You pick the fleet of cars you want to choose from. You go to your app. I want this one. They drop it off. They pick up the old one. Dude, you can have anything you want. You can structure the deal however you want. You want it for the weekend? Fine. You want it for the day? You want it for the week? You want it for the month? You want to do it for a year? Structure that deal. But here's the deal. There are only 100 spots available. I think when we started doing this, Cam, probably like 7 people had signed up, and now we're probably at like 90-something. Okay? People are just catching on left and right. And so we don't have very many spots left. So get in now so you don't get stuck on the waiting list, although there's nothing wrong with being on the waiting list. But if you want to have that sick-ass G-Wagon, you want to drive a Porsche, a Range Rover, you want to have a BMW, a Maserati, dude, a Raptor.
Or a big Suburban, or a Corvette for a nice weekend.
Whatever it is, man. I mean, just get on it. Say what up to Dad. Listen, if you call and you say, hey, Ellie and
what's up, girl?
Dylan, like
Dylan,
dude, like
with sick hair. He looks like what's that dude from 30 Seconds from Mars? Jared Leto.
He looks like Jared Leto.
Like
yeah, he does. He does look like Jared Leto,
but not as hot.
I don't know who Jared Leto is.
Of course you don't.
Okay,
30 Seconds from Mars actually.
But dude, cool Dylan has just got it going on. He's like wise beyond his years, and he'll take care of you.
Yeah.
So hit us up. We're gonna get you personally in touch if you want to get personally in touch with Ellie or Dylan.
She's awesome, by the way.
She is.
Love her.
The best.
She's awesome.
Dylan is the best, and Ellie is the best. And they flat out get it done, man. And they took great care of us, and we appreciate everything they've done. And you should jump on board with Dry Black Tie. All right, jump on board with Brian Sutter, too. Sudsy. Truly a legend, man. If you grew up in the 90s, 80s, even before that, you are well aware of what you're about to walk into right now, man. Not only the greatest leader, one of the greatest leaders in the history of hockey, certainly the greatest cattle rancher in the history of hockey as well. And he talks about little baby Strick. He was born during the show. This is quite the scene here on episode number 112 on the Cam and Strick podcast.
Hello.
Ryan.
Sudsy.
What's up?
Yes, sir.
Where are you at right now?
I'm walking to the barn office.
The barn office. Hey, just so you know, we hit record and we just go. So what goes down in the barn office?
What? Hey, there's an old saying, guys. What goes on in the barn stays in the barn.
That's what we're talking about. We know, except when you're on this podcast, then we find out what goes down in the barn. You know that, Brian. What's the weather like up there in Sylvan Lake? Is it snowing today?
We're getting our first. We've only got 3 or 4 inches on the ground, and it's been an incredible winter, you guys, for snow. And they're saying you're supposed to get 10 centimeters, which is about 4 inches today, and that'll be twice what we got on the ground. And we've had a good winter here. It was supposed to be real bad as far as temperatures and stuff, but it's been really nice. Like today, it's minus 10 here, so that'd be 10.
Oh boy,
20.
here we go.
Oh no, we tried this. We've done this before, Sudsy.
Don't make me use my brain.
Celsius to Fahrenheit. This is not Cam's strength. It's my strength, but it's not Cam's.
Well, I can honestly say I'm not used to it either. I can't figure out why Canada did that when they did it, kilometers and Celsius and everything else. So anyhow, but no, it's not cold. It's only like it's minus 5 or 6 right now. They're saying it was supposed to be minus 10 today, but it's warmed up, so it's kind of neat. We got 3 or 4 inches of fresh snow on the ground, and so anyhow, it is winter time and it is Canada, so we're supposed to have this.
Damn right. And you know what? If that was in St. Louis, we'd have about 52,000 car wrecks, and no one would get home until about 3:30 in the morning. So that's how it is in St. Louis. But you guys know how to drive up there. But explain your farm, man. Like, are you like how many acres do you have? Like, what do you got in there, and what's your daily routine?
Well, right now I'm calving cows. We've got a purebred black Angus farm that I started raising purebred black Angus in, it'd be my second year. I got in the purebred, second year in St. Louis, about third year. 79 is when we started with 18 bred heifers, and now it's one of the biggest, oldest Angus cow herds in North America. And, because I was in the States, you guys, I was in the States, you could go see a lot of bulls and what bulls to use up and everything else. And I was lucky I was in the States. I got to know a lot of old ranchers and guys that have been in the business for like 75 years. And we in Canada were just starting, and there's a lot of guys up here think they're experts, and they don't know poop from wild honey. And so
watch your language, Brian.
Whoa.
Watch the language.
Did you say poop?
Yeah,
How dare you?
Nice. We're a Black Angus farm, and we're one of the biggest and oldest now in North America. And we calve about 300 head, or I do, and that's what we're doing right now. And always calve in January and February. We got about 150 some calves in the ground, and started the first week in January, and so we got about 100 to go, I guess, 120 to go, something like that. But and we've got, I don't know, when I was young, the money we made playing hockey, my farmers made twice as much farming, and I came to Red Deer in 1972 when I was 15 to play junior hockey, and it was about 2.5 hours from home from Viking, and I never went back because the land here was so good. It was twice as good as at home. You could raise twice as much on an acre and on a quarter section and a section, both raising crops and feeding cattle. So I stayed in this area, and I ended up met Judy when I was going to high school here when I was 17, and we got married when we were 19, and we're still on the farm. My dad said, you're a hockey player. Anybody can work hard for 15, 20 minutes a night.
Oh.
He says, but you're a farmer in your heart, and never ever forget that. And so I never have. I always, all the years I played, I came back home and we put our crop in. I always had all my feed up before I went to training camp and everything done. And then you always had a couple guys hired to feed the cattle and calve them out in the winter time when you're gone. But I put up all the feed and everything else. So I enjoy it. It's a way of life. But now I was touching base on it before the land was worth nothing. And all the money I made playing hockey, I paid for our farmland. And now the land is worth 100 times more than it was in the late 70s and early 80s. And I'm worth a lot of money dead. Let's put it that way, guys.
Okay. Hey, listen. Well, we'll get to that. We don't need to talk about that yet. Now, let me ask you this, because I need to know what's going on here. First off, you have all these cattle. You got the Black Angus.
Oh, I'm starving.
Is there like one that's like your baby that you go out and that you pet, that knows you, that follows you around, that you'll never sell? And I want to know what you're sitting on here. Like, what's the overall value? What does it cost to buy one of these things? If somebody wants to come up to the farm and say, "Hey, I want to buy one of these Black Angus," like, what's the price tag on that?
Well, ours are a little different than most people. Ours are like kind of the top programs in the States. And one thing I got out of the States is carcass numbers, which means what we eat, you guys, the steaks we buy are, they're either A or they're AAA plus prime. And all our cattle that's what one big thing I learned from the States, besides performance and how good they look and their docility, and was their carcass numbers. And that dictates how good your meat is. And let's put it this way. When we butcher an animal, we sell just about everything for breeding purposes, but if something gets hurt, you'll butcher it. And all of our animals are AAA plus prime. So we're one of the only places in Canada that your hamburger and your sausage and all your poor end cuts of meat are AAA plus prime. So I always get a bunch of drunken cowboys that had too much whiskey that live out, that want to come out. And now with all this COVID stuff, you guys, there's a lot of people coming out. Brian, have you got any older animal to butcher or a bull that's hurt? And it's saving them about 90% what they pay when you go buy it across the counter. So our meat's really good. And do I have some favorite cattle? Just, it's amazing, you guys. I can go through just about every one, even though I was down and like playing hockey and stuff. You knew when every one of them were born, and all of our cattle. Well, we started in '79 in the purebreds, and you can trace. It's one of the oldest bred herds there is. And you can trace them all back to about 10 cows back in back in the late 70s. So it's kind of a neat old herd. When we have our bull sale the second Saturday in December every year, and it's kind of neat because guys call from all over the States and the old genetics from down there, and the older guys in Canada. And I've been lucky. I've stayed good friends with a lot of those older people over the years. So it's a special way of life, and it is. My dad always says if it's anything that's worth doing, it takes time, and it's not work. It's just hours in a day, and that's one thing you learn about the is there's 10 things to do every day, but there's 2 or 3 things that you have to do, and you got to do them good and right. Yeah. And so you get them done, and you start again the next day. So it takes you.
So if you say you had relationships with all these cows, and I could see that because they're cute and they're kind of cuddly and things like that. So do you ever like butcher one and be like, oh God, Susie, I love you, but God, are you really good to eat? I mean, you cry when you eat some of these?
Well, my grandkids are like that. And, I laugh because you're tagging the calves and they got to have names in the back of the tags and everything else. And Grandpa, we're not going to eat this one, are we? And I said, it depends whether the bugger runs us over or something like that, or I get mad at him. But no, all of ours everybody laughs because all of our cattle are pretty quiet. And we do everything on a horse, and I was raised on a horse. And so all our cattle are used to being worked like that. And moving them around in the summertime. All our land isn't right here on our home place. It's a few miles away, and some of it's 30, 40 miles away. So you're trailer and cattle, but you're always checking them on horses. But our cattle are reasonably quiet. They're probably like your guys' old girlfriends. Once in a while, you got to chase them in the car and keep some sticks up so you don't get hit back. And anyhow, but ours are pretty quiet.
He's calling Cam's old girlfriend's cows.
Well, that's what you did. Well, they were.
That's what you did.
Before I started playing hockey.
So, and I grew up around horses too. I know I knew all about the horses.
No, you didn't.
Okay, before we get into the hockey, we got so much hockey stuff to get into, but I'm curious because you have all this cattle, you have all this land, all the barns. I mean, it's beautiful. I saw the feature. Trevor Nickerson from the Blues did the great stuff. Bobby Plager was there with you, man. I love that story. And I want to come hang out in the house, by the way, and live in the barns and just hang out with you in Sylvan Lake. So we're going to come one day, Sudsy. But
I want that tomahawk.
But what is give us an idea. What's the budget here? What does it cost to feed these things and to handle this this ranch and to run the business per day, per month? What are we talking here to run the business?
Well, you guys, it costs a lot of money. Everybody laughs at farmers and they got lots of money and they got this or that. And again, I touched on it earlier. I was lucky when I was younger. Every nickel I made playing hockey, I bought farmland, and I paid for our land, and all our land's paid for. And now young guys that are getting started just out of the blue, you've got to have a job off the farm to subsidize what goes on in the farm. It's really expensive. Equipment, your tractors and all your equipment has gone up 50% in the last 2 years.
Oh my God. I know. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It cost you $100,000 3-4 years ago. Now it costs you $175,000 or $200,000. And you know what? But it's interesting because farmers, we get paid the same thing if you ship it or you ship it to an auction mart or for marketing cattle per pound. You get the same thing now you got 10, 15, 20 years ago. And yet everything costs you more. Your fuel costs more. Just your equipment costs more. How much does it cost you guys? It costs a lot of money. We had our bull sale and our expenses every year in the farm. And I watch what I do. I do most farms our size or ranches our size have 2 or 3 full-time guys. I do the majority of it myself.
Wow.
And I have a lot of crazy friends that like whiskey at 8 and 9 and 10 and 12 o'clock at night. And good cold Budweiser in the summertime. And I do have people that help me, but I do most of it on my own. but it's very, very expensive to farm, and it costs a lot of money. And just like our expenses here are over, like they're between $400,000 and $500,000. And all I really care about is if I can get out of the cattle each year and pay our bills, and I don't have to. I've got a lot of friends that run banks and stuff like that in Canada, but none of them like me too much as far as the business is concerned because I never loan money from them. And,
good for you, man.
Anyhow, so
I love that, Brian.
I always say it.
Yeah, man. So, I think it's great, and what you've been able to do. Like, I mean, listen, not surprised because of how you played the game. I mean, you just kind of translated your hard work on the ice to what you're doing now. So I want to go back to Viking Alberta, though. Like, you're growing up, you have all these brothers, everybody's playing hockey. Like, give us an idea. What was life like in Viking Alberta? Mr. and Mrs. Sutter, 7 boys, 6 of them play in the show. Like, give us an idea. What was life like for you growing up? How much fun was it?
Well, we were, I always thought I was in heaven. And, you got on the bus and went to school, and you went to town, and everybody had nice clothes on and everything else, and warm boots. And we were one of the last places in Alberta to have power. And that was in the late 60s. I was 12 years old when we finally got power. But you didn't know, like, you thought it was a luxury when you went to town. There was lights in a building, and there was refrigerators, and you had heated furnaces, and you didn't have to carry your wood in or run to the outhouse at night or go stand out in the snowbank and have a pee in the middle of the night. And anyhow, you thought you were in heaven. And so I think how I live now, I am in heaven. And, it's growing up in Viking, we were lucky. Everybody cared for each other, and, you played in a rink. I never played on artificial ice till I was 13 years old, and I went away from home to play junior B. And anyhow, you never played you played in outdoor rinks. Viking was the only town that had an indoor rink in our league. And but it's, I left for good there, you guys, when I was 15 years old, and I got so many dear friends there. It's still home. And it's, guys call every day, and guys' sons and grandsons, and you still stay close. Daryl his dad passed away a few years ago, so on the old home place, and Daryl and I talk quite regularly, and he's the only one left at home now. But it was a special place. It taught you values. It taught you. My dad and mom taught you respect, and I always thought the 2 most important words in life were trust and respect. And you don't get one without the other. And that's how we were raised, to respect other people. And it wasn't about money, and it wasn't about the color of your skin. And we tease the heck out of everybody. And you guys, we got to be careful what we talk about now, but we were raised with Norwegians and Ukrainians and Indians, and they were all our best friends, and they were all our uncles, and we called them all uncle, and they still are that. And that's why their kids and their grandkids and everybody, it was a close-knit part of the world, and I was pretty darn lucky. And you never showed discrimination towards anybody or their color of their skin, and you were really close with all those people. And as a result, over all the years you played, and you became best friends with everybody that everybody said couldn't do something, and whether they couldn't skate good enough, or maybe they had a slang in their voice, whether they're from Sweden or Russia or Czechoslovakia, or they're born on a reserve in Canada someplace, or they're in Boston, couldn't say their R's, or those people all became my best friends, Joey Mullen and those guys. And and that's why every team, I think, guys, that we had in St. Louis those years, like the 12 years I played, we were the only team that didn't win a Stanley Cup. We had the best record. There was 7 or 8 teams that won cups over those 12 years, but we were the only team to make the playoffs every year over those 12 years, besides the Cup winners. And I really think it was because of what we're talking about, guys, how close knit we were as a group, and then I I was that way as a coach too. And how was it in Viking? You're only as good as the person you're standing beside. And, everybody always told me that I wasn't big enough and I couldn't skate well enough and couldn't do this and that. So you just kept your mouth shut and you tried as hard as you could. And if somebody got in the way, you learned how to fight when you were real young. And that was part of your life for standing. It wasn't standing up for you. It was standing up for your friends and your family.
The Cam and Strick podcast is brought to you by CarShield. Nothing more frustrating, Cam, than when that engine light comes on and right off the bat, you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars to repair your vehicle. Call 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM or visit carshield.com and use the code CAM to save 10%. Yeah. That's carshield.com. A deductible may apply. Save yourself money. Sign up and get your coverage now with carshield.com. Now back to the interview.
Speaking of your family though, your mother, was she after a while though, Brian, was she like, oh, cool, another boy, yay, another boy? And then, go ahead.
I'll be honest, guys. We always, the twins were the last ones born, and I'll never forget, because we always wanted a little sister. I remember talking to Daryl and my older brother Gary, and we wanted a little sister, and we had to babysit, and we always told everybody Brother Dwayne the Hutterites dropped them off in the driveway in a basket, and they didn't want him, so that's how we that's how we got him. And then another brother was that way too. We always teased the heck out of them that we don't know if they're brothers or not. And, but when the twins were born, I'll never forget it, because all of us, Dad says, we got to go to town and see your new little one. And anyhow, he comes home the first day, and we didn't believe him because we thought for sure we were having a little sister. And she says, no, you've got twin brothers in town. And anyhow, so we're a real close knit family. My mom was a special lady, and she went through a lot in life, to feed 7 people, and I look back at it, and she was didn't babysit us, and you didn't have running water, you had to be clean, and we had Dad. He was never allowed to swear in the house, and the only time he went to church was for weddings and funerals, and Mom went to church every Sunday and still does. So we had to make our choices pretty young in life, but we had to respect the good Lord, and yet you did a lot of laughing, because there's a lot of fun things going on, but no, Mom's still the same way. She's a special lady, and I don't know how she did it, raising all of us. And
I know that's.
I don't know how either.
I don't know. It's crazy, but you know what? We're trying to make that rule with Cam too, about the cursing. And we're making baby steps now. We're making baby steps now, Brian. But the hockey, how did the hockey come into things? I mean, you guys were so busy on the farm, you had so much work to do. You don't just accidentally have 6 brothers make it to the NHL. It doesn't happen. How did it happen for the Sutter family? Who's responsible for that?
Gosh, guys, I don't really know, and I don't think it's anything special. I do know every time you went to town, there was always half a dozen guys that scored more goals than you, and season long, and yet at the end of when you playoffs and you won. There's an 8 trip, and then if you keep your division back in those days, or your area, you went up to the next level, and then you play teams like Edmonton. We're a town of 1,200 people, and you play a AAA team from Edmonton, you'd beat them 3-2. And in those games, a lot of those guys that scored all those goals all season long, a lot of them never showed up, and there was a few guys that made the difference, and that's why we beat those guys. And it's, I guess what I'm saying, it's the same as in the NHL. You can have all the skill you want, but unless that skill plays hard, you're not going to win anything, because skill isn't, I was told I was lucky. I was around lots of good people when I was young, as far as coaches and guys who were in the NHL. And like they said, skill's like toilet paper. You flush it down the toilet if you don't want to work hard and get your nose dirty and be tired and take the blame and take responsibility. and just be part of a team, not be the team. And that's why some guys make it in the National League. And I don't know why you guys would make it from Viking. I don't know. I went and left home for good when I was 15 to play hockey and junior hockey. And again, like I said, I was lucky. I was with good coaches, and my brothers all followed me to Red Deer here, and we played junior here, and then we all went to Lethbridge from there. And then we went to Lethbridge. We were lucky, like Earl Ingerfield was our coach, and Earl was a special guy. And really it was no different than when we went to St. Louis. We had the oldest team in the league, and like Barkley and Bobby and Red Berenson and Claude DeRose, and all you heard about was Glenn Hall and Al Arbor, who became my best friends after that, and they were like my dad, and we became really close with them, and Scotty, and became close with all those guys. And those guys were all the same as where we were raised. They looked at other people in the eye, and I learned when I was really young, and it's something that from good people like we're talking about in life, a good friend doesn't look at each other in the eye and tell him what he wants to hear all the time. Otherwise, he ain't a good friend. And
yeah, I'm right.
And those guys were like that. And then to stand there and listen to it and to learn from it. And you never, how were we raised? We treat other people the way you wanted to be treated, with respect. And I still try to do that, and teach your grandkids that, and their son and their daughter that way. And society isn't that way now, and that's why players think differently. And they talk about a different game, but it's fascinating, you guys, because the things we talk about, the best teams at the end of the year, every year in the NHL, are the teams that play the hardest and stick together the most, and they play the hardest together the longest. And if they got skill, then they're going to win, and they do those other things. And that's how we were raised in Viking. I always said I didn't have any skill, and I never thought I did. So,
welcome to my world.
Anyhow, yeah.
Although,
let me ask you something.
But Brian, you scored over 300 goals in the NHL.
Come on now, look, you're the ultimate leader, dude. If you're back in like the 1500s, you're like leading the charge as a general. Like we look at you like that, and especially in St. Louis. I do have another question though about the family. I mean, you guys are getting so much attention. You 6, but then your other brother doesn't. Like, how did he feel? Was he like, oh, cool, everybody's talking about everybody else but me? Or was he just like, no, I'm grinding on the farm and I'm doing my own thing?
Well, his older brother Gary and he lives close to me, and him and I've always been good friends. And he was twice the hockey player I ever dreamt of being, and twice the ball player. We had really good ball and real good hockey where we came from, and we could go into big cities and kick their rear ends, and you're a town of 1,200 people, and you're playing against big cities, Edmonton and Calgary, and competing with them. But Gary was the type of guy that he helped you do all those things, and he was a really good athlete. When I came to Red Deer when I was 15, when my dad brought me, you guys, to try out for the junior team here in Red Deer, my older brother was twice the player, and he was supposed to come. And he had a girlfriend, and my dad always, you say, you young guys, some of you think above the waist and some of you think below the waist. He says, you got to think above the waist most of the time. And Gary stayed at home, and he stayed there and worked, and that's where he's retired and lives close to me here in Sylvan Lake. So it's kind of neat, but he's a special person. And I don't know how we became hockey players, you guys. I don't know. We played in an outdoor rink. You never had new equipment or new skates, or my first new pair of skates, I'll never forget. Mom bought for Christmas when I was 13, and my older brother and I went and played junior B that year. And it was the first new pair of skates I ever had. But none of those things were important to you. And it's, it's kind of like you guys. It's interesting. I compare the two when I went to St. Louis and when I was being raised. When I went to St. Louis, it was a team that was going under over and over again. Mm-hmm. One time it actually did. We were going to Saskatoon. We went through so many ownership groups, and it was incredible. And I'll use an analogy. My first 2 years pro, you didn't have your name on your stick. I was sent to the minors. we were sent sticks down, and the guy who became a real close friend, the sticks that I liked, was Bobby McMillan, and back then you had 3 sticks taped up, and one used in a game, one was an old one was a new one that when the one used in the game broke. But anyhow, I used Mac's stick, and I had his name in my stick the first 2 years I played pro. And my 3rd year, I scored 41 goals, and I used it with Bobby McMillan's name on my stick. And you never had 3 sticks taped up, and that's why it's. My dad always said this stick isn't just to score goals and handle a puck, use it like a weapon. And so it really bothered you when you broke sticks. So when you broke them, you made sure that the guy knew that you ran into it, or accidentally on purpose ran into it. He paid the price. So
the tree trunks.
Yeah,
we should tree trunks.
We should call you Brian McMillan.
And Andy uses my sticks, by the way, now.
Hey, so listen though, like the 6 brothers who make it, and you were on some great teams. You mentioned not winning the Stanley Cup, but like Dwayne and Brent, like they get to New York, they're winning Stanley Cups. How did everybody get along? Like all the brothers, like was there ever any jealousy over one individual having more success over the other, or having more team success, or being on better teams? Like when you guys all got together in the off season, what was that like? Did everybody just have that same respect for one another?
I think we did, guys. I always admired what the Islanders did. And again, the guys that ran the Islanders was Mr. Arbor, who came out of St. Louis. And that's all you heard about in St. Louis when I went there was Al Arbor. And people don't realize that the general manager is Bill Torrey. Well, 2 of the greatest general managers in those days were Bill Torrey and Cliff Fletcher. Well, they both came from the Montreal Canadiens and came to St. Louis Blues. And then they went on to their respective teams after that. So I was lucky, and I still am. I never ever had an agent when I played. And I had an agent one year, and he screwed me out of a bunch of money, my first contract, and they went to jail for a number of years. And so after that, I never really had an agent again. And Mr. Francis and I always did everything on quite easily together. But guys like Al Arbor on other teams he would help you. And, I'll never forget, I was a left winger, and I'll never forget him saying one time, he says, well, Clark Gillies makes this. And he says, Steve Shutt makes this. And they were both left wingers. And then Bill Barber makes about the same as Steve Shutt. So I never ever asked what those guys were making, because you didn't think you were in their class, but you scored as much as them and you fought more than them. And anyhow, but it was never hard getting money and stuff like that. And as far as contracts, so that when you went home in the summertime, you knew some guys on the island that scored half as many goals as you did, and some of them were your siblings, made twice as much money as you did. And I remember Brother Darrell in Chicago. He was the captain in Chicago for years and years, and like we were getting down to about 7 games left in the year, and it was for, this would have been maybe 79, 80, maybe 80, 81, was for first place overall in the league. And the Islanders ended up beating us 3-2 that night in St. Louis. And they had a real veteran experience. Even we were a bunch of kids and youngest team in the league. And I'll never forget those guys yipping at me.
Oh,
and
God.
dogged everything up. And Clark Gillies, he was the captain. I remember Clarky and Brian Trotch and I were best friends. Trotch was probably the best two-way player. Cam, you know this in the NHL back in those days, and him and I played junior together and we're best friends. They'd come and say, "Dog, shut up!" And so I don't know how I didn't kill him in the summertime, but we all got along good and all respected each other a lot and still do, and we're all lucky, to have each other as best friends. My brother Darrell and I, he's not just my brother; he's as good a friend as you're ever going to have, and. So it's
back then though, if you're barking like that though, you're gonna get it, and you're allowed to be able to do that. I mean, now it's kind of a little bit different, but if you're a loudmouth back in the early '80s, you got to have some sort of balls on you, because a lot of people are coming after you.
Yep, that's right, and that's I don't know. That's the way I looked at you guys. I never talked. If somebody did something to, always played with Joey Mullen, or Bernie and I played together, and I always thought Bernie was the best centerman in the NHL. And besides Gretzky and Lemieux, nobody scored more points than he did over the the years him and I played together. And if anybody did something disrespectful to one of my teammates or whatever, said something the wrong way, there's a time and a place for everything. I remember telling a guy in Philly one night, and they had a tough team. I says, "You're going to get yours." I said, it was a 1-goal game, so I wasn't going to do anything. I says, "You're going to get yours. I just don't know when and where, but you're going to get it."
Who was it? Who was it? Who was it?
I won't tell you, but they had a tough team, and
Bobby Clark.
"You guys are all good."
Yeah, Philly.
Well, it was really neat because Starkey sent me a picture at the end of that year, and I was lucky. I'd scored 41 goals, but I also led it in penalty minutes or in major penalties. I always had between 25 and 30 major penalties. And I said, "You guys are going to get it. You just don't know when you're going to get it." But I says, "I've got a good memory. I'll never forget it." And Bobby Clark sent me a picture, and I still he said, "You don't say very much when you say things. It means a lot." And
scared shitless.
It was funny, you guys, because a lot of the guys from Philly, and back in those days, they had tough teams, and they didn't have 3 or 4 guys that could fight. They had like 8 or 9 guys, but you became good friends. Like, people don't realize that Brian Burke, he came up through Philly's farm team, and that's how Berkey and I became great friends. And so many guys like Paul Holmgren and so many guys that were in Philly, like Dave Hoyda was a young guy. Dave Schultz was actually traded because of Dave Hoyda. And Dave was a guy, him and I played 5 years against junior each other, must have fought 30 times. Oof. And we got to the NHL, we never fought once. He was a left winger. And just like Dave Sminko said, "Suds, I'm left winger, you're left winger. You stay on your side of the ice, I'll stay on my side of the ice." And Tiger Williams told me that one time. I says, "Tiger, you got kicked out of high school, but please listen to me and stay over in your side of the ice." But you respected those guys. It was like, Cam.
Man.
It wasn't, I always said it wasn't about the goals you scored at the end of the year, is where your team finished. And, Cam, if I'm correct, you started with the team and you went to St. Louis, then you went back to Jersey. And I can remember when you went back to Jersey because they were lacking something, and they were lacking character. And you can say whatever you want, but we can call it balls or whatever you want, but it's character. And you're only as good as the people you're standing beside. And like Joey Mullen used to say, "Shaggy," he says, "I can't go there because somebody's going to kill me." And I says, "Schmo, don't worry about it. Just follow me to the net and nobody's going to hurt you. You're going to get all the rebounds I don't get."
I love
it. Him and I still talked about things like that. And it's, but no, you're not. I was nothing special as a player. My brothers I thought they were all better players than I was. I was a 2nd round pick. They were all 1st round picks, except for Darryl. And I think him and I had to earn our stripes, but I don't know if it was easier.
Jersey retired, though, and no one else does.
Hey, let's talk about the new Bud Light Seltzer.
Oh, yeah.
It's an easy-drinking, hard seltzer that comes in 4 delicious fruit flavors. Black cherry, strawberry, lemon lime, and Cam's favorite, mango.
Oh,
With only 100 calories, 5% alcohol, and less than a gram of sugar, you might as well have a few tonight or this weekend. Go to BudLight.com to buy Bud Light Seltzer online. Must be 21 years of age or older. Bud Light Seltzer. Unquestionably good.
Yeah.
Now, back to the interview. But, how do you define leadership and the role of being a captain, Brian?
Oh, guys, it's interesting because when I was named captain, I'll never forget it. We're training in Port Huron, and Mr. Francis came in. I believe I was going into my 4th year. It was after my 3rd year, and I didn't realize he'd talked to me about something that summer, and it went completely over my head. But he came in, and I remember Tommy Woodcock was rubbing me down. I always break horses, and I broke a rib or 2 in the summertime, and I was hurt, and I wasn't going to tell anybody. And we were in training camp, and I remember Tommy was rubbing me down, and geez, I was in pain, and I bruised it all over my chest and my back. Mr. Francis and Barkley come into the trainer's room and up in Port Huron, And I remember Tommy throwing a towel over my top part of my body so they wouldn't see my bruises. And they were talking to me about, leadership and stuff like that. And I couldn't understand. I had my face down on the friggin' training table. I knew everything they were talking about. I was wondering what the heck they were telling me this stuff. And it was all stuff that I knew. And I don't know. Being a kid, I don't know. I used to say you don't need a C on your jersey and, or an A on your jersey to be a leader. And it's, when you watch what's going on in the NHL now, some guys, we were really fortunate, and we were all really fortunate in St. Louis for years, you guys, to see Alex play there, Peter Angelo. And he was a special guy. And a leader is somebody that's, I don't know what, you guys, but I'll just explain it this way. We had so many players over the years in St. Louis, and I touched on it before, that came to us from other teams that nobody wanted. And I made sure that every person that walked into that room felt they were as important as anybody else there. Yep. And I always knew I was no better. I'll never forget us getting, you guys might, Inge Hammerstrom was one of the first Swedes to come over here, and Inge got traded from Toronto to here, and guys used to tease the shit out of him. And Inge was built like Tarzan, and he could score like crazy, but, he didn't go looking for rough stuff or anything, but he wasn't afraid of it. But people picked on him, because he was one of the first Swedes, and on and on. And, it's, I can tell you stories about so many people, you guys, that people despised and thought there was something wrong with them. And you made them feel like at Christmas time, let's put it this way, at Christmas time, every single guy and every guy that just got traded and anybody else that Mama and I, my wife Judy and I thought should be together, we were together for a couple days at Christmas. And you can remember those days forever. And they were so many guys that came from different parts of the world, and they weren't wanted and they were disliked. And some of the reasons were their own fault, you guys. Yeah. But you asked about where we came from, about our brothers and stuff. We were no better than each other. And that's what I thought being a captain was. We were always a really close-knit team. And, you had team rules when you went on the road. You went to Toronto, and a lot of guys were from Toronto. Everybody went for a beer together after the game.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's family had to come for one with you. Then they'd go. And then it was that way. You knew their families. You couldn't win off the ice. Couldn't win on the ice till you won off the ice. You were extremely close, and that's the way it was. And you cared for people's families. And you know what? Most of those guys, and even when I went on to coach you guys, and they're still all good friends. And they're people that, it's amazing. My first year in St. Louis, we had next to when I coached my first year in Boston, we had the youngest team in the NHL. We had 3 NHL scouts. Every other team had 12. When you went to the draft, it was amazing. There was half your table was empty. So as a coach, I was lucky, and I remember what it was like to be a captain. Teddy Hampson or Patty Janelle would take me. We're in Western Canada. You had to go watch a junior game and watch somebody. And when you were in, someplace in the States, Teddy Hampson, you'd have to go to North Dakota State or University of Minnesota, and you'd see Steve Tuttle and Tom Tilley, and and how did Tony Twist and Kelly Chase come to
Tom Tilley, Twister Chaser, I love it.
Yeah, all those guys, Jim Favis, on and on and on. You guys, there were guys that everybody said they were 10th, 11th round draft picks, or on like Chaser was a free agent, and you made guys feel. Everybody wants to be wanted in life, but some people just don't know how. And I don't know, when I was a captain and when I was a coach, I don't realize it till now, but you made people know themselves and feel good about themselves. And like I used to tell players when they came and sat down, and I'll never forget Jerry Hart. He was a defenseman, came from the Islanders, and won cups, and he come over and he goes, I've never felt as close to anybody or close as we are, and I've only been here a week.
Aww.
But it's because he'd spent his whole career in New York, the Islanders, but it's because you're only as good as each other, and you win together and you lose together. And hey, if you win, you won because a bunch of guys stuck together. And I always just tell the guys as a player, and you'd have the odd coach that come in and really peeved a bunch of guys off, and you knew as a player, you knew that, but you always, as who I was, you always back the coach. But I always used to say, you guys, we're going to do this together. And I remember some of the guys were ready to kill one of the coaches one time. He'd come out of junior and he's coaching us, and he went out of the room after a meeting and he read his pregame speech on a piece of paper, and Greg Millen sat at the door and switched his damn papers. So his pregame speech was all mixed up. And Millsy, but I never forget, because some of the guys said something smart alecky after he walked out. And I said, guys, 20 guys in this room doing the wrong thing together are going to win more games than 4 or 5 of us doing what the coach said, 7 or 8 not doing what they're doing, and the other 7 or 8 saying the hell with everybody, we're doing it on my own. Mm-hmm. And I really, like St. Louis, all the years you played, even when I coached, we had the lowest payroll in the NHL, and it's, you had players that come there and they did things in St. Louis that, hey, people don't talk about this, but the St. Louis, the farm team for the Calgary Flames, and there was only 2 players that didn't go from St. Louis to Calgary that were supposedly top players in their team. When Calgary won the cup, what was there, 10, 11 of their players played for us in St. Louis in the last 3 years. Yeah. 3 of their top 6D, Rammer, Rick Natras, Terry Johnson, their top centerman, Doug Gilmore, their best 2 right wingers, Joey Mullen and Mark Hunter, on and on and on. And it's because we were so close together, and it paid off. And teams like Calgary, again, Cliff Fletcher was there, and Al McNeil, and those guys knew what they were looking for. They none of those guys besides Dougie and Little Joe were their top end scorers, but they're all character, quality people. And I don't know, as a captain and as a coach, that's what you try to instill in everybody else. And it's the guys that everybody else disliked the most. We made sure that first night we had a beer or 2 together, and we got things straightened around in a hell of a hurry.
All right, let me ask you this, Sudsy. So, like, because you're playing and you have this relationship with all these guys, they're your teammates, and then, I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see it again. I mean, a player goes straight from being a player to being the head coach of a team in the National Hockey League. It's unheard of. Were you comfortable right off the bat coaching guys that were some of your best friends, like specifically a guy like Bernie Federico? Now he's one of your players. He goes from being your best friend teammate. Now you have the coach-player relationship. Like, break down that adjustment. How difficult was that for you? Well, it was really hard. It was interesting because Mr. Quinn had called me, and at the end of every season, as you guys know, we're not about a day's drive from the Gulf of Mexico, and Rammer and his family, Rob and his family, and our family, we always went to the Gulf of Mexico for a couple of days, and we were leaving that day, and they said, could you stop at the rink when you're heading out of town? And I'll never forget, because I'd played 9 years and I'd broken every bone in my body, but you never missed a game. And then I broke my scapula halfway through, I believe it was my 9th year. And it was early in January. I remember I was leading the league in goals at 19 goals. It was January 2nd, and it was in Minnesota. And I got hit funny into the boards and broke my scapula, and I missed a bunch of time. And the next couple of years were hard because the doctors didn't know how to diagnose me, and I missed half of that year and half the next year, and then came back. But I got myself. I was always in great shape, and anyhow, and so I was just getting my career going. I'd come back after a year again, and anyhow, and it was kind of neat. I just signed, and they just signed me to a new 4-year contract, 3 years plus an option. But they said, stop at the rink.
So we stopped at the rink, and I couldn't believe what they told me. And lots of times they'd get you to stop, and they'd ask you about a player in another team. What do you know about him, Suds? Would he be a good teammate or this or that? And you never ever really said anything bad about anybody. So I said, Brian, and they hadn't let our coach go yet, but they said, we want to name you coach. And I remember looking at them and hesitating and wondering why in the hell they would want that. They just signed me to a new contract. I was in the best shape I couldn't wait for next season to start. But we had the oldest team in the league, and once again we had the smallest payroll. And anyhow, it was kind of interesting because we went to the Gulf of Mexico, and I thought about it a lot and talked about it with Judy quite a bit, and I said we'd do it. And I wasn't 32 years old, and it was hard. It was kind of, I look back at it because I became the youngest captain in the history of the NHL when they named me captain. Everybody back then was like 34, 35, and Red was our captain. He was 38 or 39 a couple of years before, and I was 21, 22, and so it was the same thing as a coach. It was hard. But I look back and made those comparisons, and it was hard, you guys, but something I always did. And again, we talk about where I was raised. The first thing I did is when they named me captain or coach, is that I hired the most experienced people to coach with me that I could find. And one was Bob Berry, and Bob had coached I don't know how many years in the NHL then, and he was a top head coach out in LA. And so Bobby came, and then Wayne Thomas was a guy that was always goaltending coaches were new then, and yet he had head coaching ability, and he played for a lot of good teams. And Wayne came, and then I got Joe Nicoletti he was a younger guy, like a few years older than me, but it was an awesome group, and they made the turnover a little bit easier from a to a coach, and yet I knew we had to change. And it was hard coaching. Well, Bernie Federico was my centerman for all the years, and Doug Gilmore was my centerman the last couple of years. And now to coach those guys, that you knew that was going to be hard. But if you never forget where you come from, you always remember where you're going in life. And I never forgot the things that Red and Barkley and Bobby and Claude LaRose and Glenn Hall and Al Arbor and Mr. Francis, Jacques Demers taught me over the years. And again, it goes back to trust and respect. And back then, the general managers and the owners, if they decide to trade somebody, they didn't always talk to the coach. Mm. And that's the part that I tried to explain to them that had to change. And it was changing in the NHL then. And I'll give you a good example that I came down to get coaches back then. You'd get together at the draft in June, and then you'd get together late in July and early August for a week or 10 days and go over, everything from do all your travel and everything else. And back then, Susie Matthews, our public relations manager and a special friend and like a general manager too. And anyhow, but you got together and you talked about things. But I'll never forget, I was flying back home to the Western Canada, the farm, stopped in Minnesota, switching planes. And I thought I should call the office because I thought there was something weird going on when I left there. And the general manager and the president weren't really telling me. And they said something to me that they'd traded Dougie Gilmore. And I said, "You've done what?" We had Dougie, and Bernie was an older veteran guy and still one of the top centermen. Dougie, I knew was going to be a star. And probably the only reason he wasn't because he was playing with me. And, but anyhow, it was interesting. I tore the pay phone off the wall, and the friggin' guys in the Minnesota airport were going to throw me in jail. I was so mad because they said they traded Dougie to Calgary. Yeah. And then when and it was all over, it was over money and a supposed off ice issue that wasn't true. And it was, that happened again and again. They did it to me with my best friend, Bernie. And I said, okay, fine then. You guys are going to do that. You guys are going to trade him. And in one way, I was happy for Bernie because him and I were always underpaid compared to the other top guys in the league. And we never complained about it. We thought we were in heaven because St. Louis was such a great city and the people were great. And it still is home to Bernie. It still is home to Mom and I. And but I said, fine. I remember saying it to Mr. Cron, fine, you buggers. And I was really upset. I knew they were going to do it. And Jock Demers had left us and gone there. And of course he'd want Bernie. Bernie was still a great player. And I says, okay, I'll never forget my exact words. Okay, you buggers, you're trading our top player. I get to pick the players that are coming back. And they told me who they're getting back. I said, forget it, you guys. And that's not the guys we're getting back. But hey, I wanted Paul McLean because we had a young man that I know was helping turn into one of the greatest players in the history of hockey in Brett Hull. And I knew Holly was like a son to me and still is. I knew I needed somebody to help me as a player to help Holly get better. And so that's how we got Paul McLean. The other guy, we had to replace Bernie. And Adam Oates was the fourth line center in Detroit. He hardly ever killed penalties, played the point in the power play a little bit, but he wasn't a top end player. I said, I want Adam Oates and Paul McLean. And we got him. And I know it killed Bernie and it killed me and it hurt our relationship. It doesn't anymore, but because we were so close and our wives were close and our families were close. But there's a lot of little things that went on. Was it hard? You guys asked me to become a coach. I'm giving you two of the toughest ones because we had a lot. We became one of the youngest teams in the NHL and had, like we said, the Steve Tuttles and Tom Tillies and so many guys like that. They were special guys, and we became something as a team and as a group again. And I don't know. It was interesting, but I look back and I enjoyed it. It just went too quick. Everybody wondered how it was, and it was hard. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm a little long-winded, but you guys are asking questions never been asked before, and those are pretty neat questions.
Yeah, and you're giving great answers, man, and we appreciate it very much. So, but I got to talk about Holly, though. So he comes from Calgary. Like, what'd you know about him? What'd you see from him? And like, your relationship is special. I've talked to Holly about you numerous times. He's got so much respect for you. And Adam Oates has so much respect for you as well, the way that they talk about you. But Holly specifically, did you know, like, he had that type of potential where he could truly evolve and become one of the greatest players ever, Brian?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, you guys, because there you go. You're talking about morals and values and things like that in life. And obviously everybody knew who Brett Hull was because of his dad. And all I knew was he had a son that scored 80-some goals in the BC Junior League. But everybody wondered what he was like as a teammate because he was a little overweight. And I didn't want to stretch and white whiskey a little bit. And then he was that way in university when he went to NCAA. And he had the same attitude kind of when he turned pro. And so people didn't know what to think of him. And I was lucky with Brett because they traded for him. He was one of the few guys we got from Calgary over the years that made a major impact on our hockey team, from giving up like the Rob Ramages and leaders like that we had on our team going the other way. But like I said, I was lucky. I played with Holly the 1 year, and you saw how the players didn't really respect him the way that I thought they should. But Holly was somebody, you guys, and I've never talked about these things. Brett was somebody that he wanted respect and wanted to be loved, but he didn't know how to get either of them. And I saw that immediately in him when he came to us. And so him and I became close as a player. And he was just, Brett, I got him to understand himself more and better than maybe some other people did. And at that time, he didn't have a great relationship with his dad. And so I replaced that a little bit. But once again, I said this earlier, good friends don't tell each other what they want to look them in the eye and tell them what they want to hear. But everybody always said I was a hard-assed, hard-nosed coach. I was never a holler and scream guy. You know, you looked at people in the eye and tell them what you saw. You didn't repeat it to the press. You cared about them. You cared about their families. And when he had a game that he knew he might have scored 3 goals and he was -3 and we lost 5-4, he'd be waiting in the parking lot, or he'd sneak into the coach's office after the game, and him and I'd sit down and have a beer. Well, so what about this? What about that? But I used to tell him, well, you want to be a leader, then you gotta, the one thing as a leader, and I used to tell Mr. Francis and Barkley and all those guys, don't you ever come in the room and say something hard to anybody else in the room without using my name first and putting me in their boots first. And anyhow, it was, and that's how I was with Brett. He'd never say anything to him that I wouldn't want said to myself, but you had to make him understand himself and what made himself better. And sometimes it was maybe hard love, but love is love. And I cared for every guy on our team, but it was interesting. Brett's best friends over the years, like you got him to play with OC, and you know, you get Jeff Brown. Jeff Brown was just like Brett Hall. Nobody in the NHL, they didn't want him. He was the worst minus for a defenseman in the NHL when we got him. And I'll never forget it. We give up Derek Temple and I forget who else. And he became one of the best defensemen in the NHL.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had to get him. So it was neat. You had him and Otzi and Holly. And I said, just hang on, Brett. You're leading the NHL in goals, and you got twice as many shots as anybody in the NHL. Can you help me figure out how we're going to be a better penalty killer when you're the best power play guy in the league? You should know what everybody's doing before they do it. Mm-hmm. And he looked at me, didn't say nothing. Well, he did a pretty good job killing penalties until he'd get things screwed up. He did a lot of times early in his career. You know, most guys took 45-second shifts. He took 2 shifts. Well, he tried to kill the whole friggin' penalty to help the team. But like I used to tell him too something, I says, guys, like I only had 5 or 6 minor penalties a year and you'd have 200 minutes. But I said, you guys can't be taking misconducts and getting kicked out of the game and taking penalties at bad times of the game. And so you taught them, hey, Chaser went from a fighter to a guy that played a number of years in the NHL, Twister too. And it's because they learned, hey, you move Twister to forward. On and on. There was lots of guys, Brother Ritchie and Bobby Bass and David Lowry.
Ooh, yeah.
There were 3 guys that nobody else wanted on their teams. You got them, you put them together. The first thing I did is switched every one of their positions and put them on a line together. They each scored 15 goals a year. They're the best checking line in the NHL, and we had the best penalty killing in the NHL. You know, you move Bass to center, Dave Lowry from right wing to left wing, Ritchie from right wing to left wing. And they became like Hully's best friends and Otzi's best friends and Brownie's best friend. And it's, you know, you guys are asking questions. I hope I'm not wandering around in circles but you're trying to.
We're a sponge right now. Are you kidding me? Andy and I are just sitting here absorbing everything, man. Like that's what we do.
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
Are you kidding?
Time to talk about our boy Dan Bellman. Ooh. Bellman.com. That's with 2 N's, not one. BEHLMANN.com. Hey, check out the new inventory. Check out the pre-owned vehicles. You looking for a Chrysler, a Dodge, a Jeep, a Ram? How about a Cadillac or a Buick GMC? All in Troy, Missouri. Get your new wheels in time for the winter. Now back to the interview. A few more questions, and then we're gonna let you go. What about the trade in '91, where you guys traded Momesso and Jeff Courtnall? I mean, there was a whole package, right? You got Garth Butcher back in return. I really thought that was the team that was going to do it. That was the team that was going to win the first Stanley Cup, and it appeared like it disrupted everything. What were your thoughts? Like, how much influence did you have on the trade? And, like, did you know right away, we made a mistake?
Well, back then, like I touched on before, you guys, coaches didn't have a lot of input in the trades. You heard about them and you knew they were going on. I was lucky because Pat Quinn was another great friend, like Al Arbor and Pat Burns. I was lucky. Older guys they took me and under their wing and treated me pretty good. I was young enough to be their son, and Pat had always called me because he had a guy like Dave Lowry, for instance, that he was supposed to be the next Clark Gill. He's a big, strong guy that's going to score 40 goals and fight guys. And, well, he couldn't do none of that stuff. And you got him to lose 20 pounds, and I'll never forget his first camp. I'm using Dave as an example. He was 112 pounds. Come to the next camp at 190 pounds, never killed a penalty in his life. Him and Richie and Bass became three of the best in the league.
Yeah. And
you just had to... I don't know. Your question isn't an easy one to answer, but you had to make people understand themselves and be themselves as good as they can be, and not feel that they had to score 2 or 3 goals to make a difference in a hockey game. And guys like Holly and it's a guy like Brad Hall. When he left St. Louis, he ever score 35 goals again, and he played on the 2 best teams in the NHL with the 2 best coaches, Scotty Bellman and Ken Hitchcock. He never scored there was 3 years in a row. He almost scored 100 goals for the St. Louis Blues when we were together between exhibition, playoffs, and regular season.
Crazy.
Nobody ever did. Isn't that crazy, you guys?
Oh my God. It's so crazy.
These guys would call me, and like Hitch would call, and I'll never forget Scotty called me one time. He goes, "Suggs, he's the last guy on the ice again. He's probably about 15 pounds overweight because he lies about his weight. He smelt like something, like I think with vodka, and he doesn't want to stretch." He says, "Who do you think I'm talking about?" I said, "You talk about my son, and you be careful because he was never that way. He did some of those things, but I always said there's a time and a place."
He smells like Código tequila now.
Hey, okay, so let me ask you this, because, Holly scored 50 and 50 with you. You had Cam Neely do the same thing in Boston. Ooh.
Twice.
Yeah, twice. Okay, twice. So let's kind of compare the two. Like, if you need a goal, who's the one guy that you want on your team to score, and what's the direct comparison between those two? Even though they scored a lot of goals, they kind of scored them differently. But describe what it was like to coach both of them, in their heyday.
Yeah. Well, the first thing every coach has to do that you never hear talked about, and I've tried to touch on that a number of times with you guys, and it's like your friends and everybody and your teammates. As a coach, your first responsibility, and I felt that was my first and most important one, is to always, always put players in positions to succeed. And everybody says they want to play more, they want to do this, they want to do that. I didn't care. Hey, if at the end of the game, who's having a good game and everybody wanted to be responsible away from the puck. There was a fight to who was going to want to be on the ice at the end of the game. And killing a penalty was as important as scoring a goal. And so as a result, Holly, fell in love with Bass and David Lowry and Richie and Chaser and guys like that. But, you put those guys in positions to succeed. I'll never forget Holly. We were in L.A. He had 48 goals or something like that. And it was 42 games or something. And he didn't score 50 and 50, guys. It was 50 and much less. Mm-hmm. You'd have to check it, but I'll never forget because that bugger, I said, "Holly, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine." And you just had to get him thinking about hitting the net again. And just, the good thing about hockey is you guys, any Dumbo can play it, and you're talking to one. Think short term. Don't be thinking about, it's like farming. You gotta worry about what's going to go on a year from now. Anyhow, you gotta put them in positions to succeed. Mm-hmm. And that's what you did, and not make him think ahead of himself. That's what I was getting at, you guys. Just think about what's in front of you. That's the neat thing about hockey. Take it a game at a time, and if you win, you win. And if you lose, like I used to say, guys, if we lose, we're going to lose because the friggin' clock ran out. We ran out of time, and that team does not want to play us tomorrow morning.
Yep.
And that's the way you coached. And that's like, I remember telling Holly that, just think about tonight. Don't worry about it. And I'll never forget, it was in LA and he went out and scored 2 that night. That's the night he got his 50th goal. And anyhow, it was pretty darn special. And but that's the thing about hockey. Think short term. Coaches got to look down the road. It's like farming. You gotta worry about tomorrow, and you got to worry about next week and next. You got to know what's going on next year too. But you're not in control of everything.
Yeah, well,
you're only in control of what's in front of you. And that's what I used to talk to Holly. Like, he'd be start hanging his lip and start dragging his arse around the ice, and his teammates would be mad at him. And so what I always played, you do things that you'd make the guys mad at you. You'd take Holly off the ice and put somebody else on, or you'd take Richie off and put Holly in his spot. And I remember doing it that night. And then all of a sudden, Holly, you got to work hard like those guys and get in front of the net and deflect pucks. You just can't lead the league in shots, and half of them are missed nets, and they're all from outside the scoring areas. Yeah. And Holly he would go back when times were tough like that, you guys. And those aren't tough times, getting ready to score your 50th goal. Like, I'll never forget, like, Cam Neely, again, it was in LA, and we had it figured out. He had his knee shot, and he was done. He was going to retire. And I convinced him to come back and play when I went to Boston. I said, here's the deal, Nils. You're not going to play back-to-back games. So I laugh. He comes to the rink the next day, and I kind of looked at the schedule, because you guys know there's back-to-backs, but I already knew he was going to play about 55 games maybe. And I'll never forget, because he had, 40. It was almost the same as Holly, 48 or 49 in 43 or 44 games. And he scored that night. I had 2 guys score 50 and 50 in less than 50 in LA. And Cam, you know what it was like out in LA. Lots of guys went out there to play hockey, but after the game, there was a piano bar, and we had a little bit of fun.
Well, hey, they didn't want to go into overtime, I'll tell you that right now. They're like, we're getting this game over with.
Some guys are thinking about other stuff. So anyhow, but no, it was, you just, once again, it was what you did with Holly. Hey, Holly, think short term. Don't get ahead of yourself. Just, know what you're doing next shift. And, I'll worry about what's going on at the end of the game. And the guys, they were never mad at you because you didn't put them on in this situation or anything, because you put them in positions to succeed. And I remember that night switching them around with a little bit. I remember Richie probably being mad at me, and anyhow, but it didn't bother me because you're trying to win. And then they realized at the end of the game, when they're all yelling and screaming, happier than hell, what went on, and us winning, and Holly getting his goal, and anyhow, so it was always really special. But no, you guys, what we're talking about is, Cam, and this is the relationships you had with the people you played with, and again, I was never any better than anybody else I ever sat with in the dressing room.
I doubt that, though. I really do. And again, the biggest thing that you say to Holly in LA is just like, Holly, don't think about the next shift. Mm-hmm. Think about the piano bar afterwards. So go get this damn game done.
Hey, listen, this has been it's been so much fun to kind of hear you talking. But so you've been like, where you went, your life took you back to Alberta, to the farm. And I mean, are you okay with that? Like, kind of being out of the limelight? Yeah. Like, you're a legend. Like, we go to, I'm at the rink every single day. I see your number hanging from the rafters. Like,
can you come see us, please?
Has it ever, have you ever been like, God, I want to be a part of it. I want to be back there in St. Louis with an NHL team? Or what's allowed you to just be so comfortable, just kind of not living in the past and just doing your thing that you do every single day now?
I enjoy life, you guys, and I guess it's kind of what we're talking about in our hockey game is I live every day to the fullest. And the way I look at it, if somebody isn't mad at me, I'm not trying to enjoy myself enough. And I got no problem going, like, we start cabin. We're not supposed to start till January, middle of January. We start a little bit after Boxing Day, and I'll get I'll lay down maybe once or twice a day for an hour, and you know, I know I'm not in control of things. I enjoy what I'm doing here. I love St. Louis. Do I miss the game? You know what I miss about the game, you guys, is like sitting here in the cabin barn and talking to you, the two gentlemen I'm talking. Yep. You miss the people. You miss the people, and hockey just is a game, and it's, you know, it's really interesting because you know it teaches you. One thing sports does is teach you a lot about life. It's standing up to adversity and saying to hell with things that scare the hell out of a lot of people. I laugh at, and I take life that way. And like I say, if my wife ain't mad at me, or as I get older, I know this more and more, you guys. If somebody isn't mad at me, I ain't enjoying myself enough, and I ain't, you know, I don't have enough hours in the day every day to get all our work done, but I'm not afraid to sit down and have a Budweiser. And it's amazing the people you get. Once every 2 days, you get a phone call, you guys, from somebody. I got a phone call the other day, and I played it to Jude it was at 2:00 in the morning. And, I leave the phone in the cabin barn when I'm calving because I'm scared I'll lose it or when a cow tries to kill me. And anyhow, I took it to the house and played it to Judy the next day. And it was a guy named Bruce. And he goes, "Suds, I miss you so much, you and your family and all the things we did together when we played." And anyhow, and he says, "I love you, buddy, with all my heart." He says, "Please call." And I call the number. And I don't know the number. They said this number isn't in service. Well, I get calls like that once a week from people that, you know, it's like one year Mike Keenan and I were coaching the Canada Cup. It was after my first year in St. Louis, and you became dear friends with some great players, and the best player in the world. You know, we went through a lot that year because Canada hadn't won in a while, and we had to win. And when we won, I'll never forget. We're going off the ice, and Wayne skates up behind me, and he turned around, and I felt him grabbing me, and then something was on my shoulder. He'd taken his jersey off and put it in my back. And he said, "Suds, this is yours from the few weeks we had together and the fun we had and everything we learned together." And
that was Wayne Gretzky. That was Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. And it's that's like, you still got those relationships with Rob Ramage and Joe Mullen and on and on and on and Chaser and Hully and so many guys on all the teams that you coached. And, you know, every team you coached, they were going through a process of trying to build something from nothing into something. And you helped build them all into something. And with a bunch of people that nobody thought could accomplish anything. And they all did things that nobody else, they never, ever did again. And, because you're together and you just want to make people be themselves as good as they can be. And, you know, Cam, you and I ain't the best looking guys walking in the bar every night.
Whoa.
That's so true. That's so true.
If you and I can walk in and look at each other and sit across from each other and tell the truth and give each other shit and laugh about it, we're going to go someplace the next day. And neither of us can't wait to get there, and we can't wait to get there together. And, you know, it's like all the horses you broke over the years and all the dogs you've trained to move cattle, and they're all your best friends. And
we want you to come down to St. Louis.
That's right.
Is what we want.
You know, listen, Brian, like,
we want to see you, man.
And
we
listen,
do.
I understand because the guy Bruce, and I don't know which Bruce you're talking about, but he, you don't ever answer your phone. I've been calling you for months, and when you answered my call last night, Brian, and we had a great conversation. We had a great conversation, honestly, and it means everything that you gave us some time and came on with us, man. So I can't thank you enough, man, for you to do this. And every time I see you come into St. Louis, man, you've always been great to me. And you know, growing up watching you and all that, man, it's like a big reason as to why we got into the game.
We look up to you, man,
and love the game. So
we look up to you.
I can't thank you enough, man.
Well, you guys, thank you for having me, and I'll be sitting beside you watching all our. See how St. Louis does this year. It's like still every breath you take. I've got a grandson that his favorite team is the St. Louis Blues, and every time we come, that's when you guys came to Calgary. It always take him down there. And if he knew I was talking to you guys, you'd just be thrilled to death. Hey, Mom and I were lucky people to live in St. Louis and move to that part of the world. And it's one of the greatest places, besides where I'm sitting right now, there is in North America. And again, you're only as good as the people you're around. And sometimes you learn what to do, and sometimes you learn what not to do from where you're at in life. And one thing I learned from St. Louis, we can drive a little better in 2 feet of snow than a foot of snow in St. Louis.
Than an inch of snow.
How about an inch? We don't even get a foot,
Brian. We don't get us started on that.
Hey, say hi to all the fans. And hey, who was behind the book, The Six Shooters? One of the best reads you can ever have. People out there, if you haven't read that book, you got to check that out and read it. It's an old-time classic.
Awesome.
Tell me you've read that, Brian.
Yeah, it was the gentleman that wrote it did one heck of a job.
Mm-hmm.
He did one heck of a job. Spent some special time, and anyhow, it was kind of neat. It's kind of neat, that's for sure.
All right.
Well, thank you.
We're honored, just like I am today, you guys. This is real special,
dude.
I've got a young friend here helping me today. Came here about an hour ago, and I've had 2 cows calve while we're talking. So, anyhow.
Hey, I want you to name those calves Cam and Strick.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay,
very cute.
Cam and Andy.
Then he's going to slaughter it and eat it at tomahawk steaks. Hey, Brian.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
If girl, I'll call it Cammy.
Oh, there you go.
I love it. See you, bud. Thank you again.
Thanks, Sudsy.
See you, bud.
Hey, Tom, Andy, thank you very much for having me. And you guys look after yourselves. Stay safe. Okay, man?
Appreciate it.
You too.
You do the same. That was Brian Sutter. Dude, when you think about the Sutter name real quick, what do you think of?
Cows.
Name all 6. Go.
I said cows.
Name all 6 brothers.
Brent.
Name 7.
Daryl, his other brother, Daryl, Brant, Daryl, Brian, Daryl.
Okay. You think they're all named Daryl?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and let's break this down. Here we go.
Okay.
You know the twins, dude?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Brian and Richie.
Oh my God, dude.
Richie.
Brian is not one of the twins.
No, Richie and Ronnie might be.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead. Brian's the oldest.
Yeah.
Actually, Gary's the oldest. We got to throw in Gary.
Oh God.
Gary may make the Twitter promo.
Hey, we got a Sutter coming to your house to sign autographs. Which one?
Hey,
Gary.
Hey, we have a drawing right now. Winner gets a Sutter brother to come to your house for the birthday.
It's Gary. Oh,
we love Gary,
we're joking.
man. We
Jesus,
love Gary.
I can't chirp that.
I can't believe you're doing that.
I'm sorry.
Dude, the Sutters will get you too.
Brian's our best buddy right now. He could have talked to us for 5 more.
Daryl is too. Great coach. And Brent's a great coach.
Brent yelled
Dwayne's
at me.
Dwayne, did he?
Yeah.
Was he your coach?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I forgot to talk to him about that.
Yeah, you should have.
I don't like to keep it about myself.
I know. Yeah. Is that true?
Unlike you.
Is that true about you? I don't know if that's true.
No, I crave attention. Not gonna lie to you.
Okay, here's the brothers. Ready? Yeah. So you had Brian, then Daryl. Dwayne. Brent.
Yeah.
Rich.
Ronnie. Yeah.
Richie and Ronnie were twins.
Gary.
Do you know they all played, I think, except one, all played for the Blues and the Blackhawks or something like that. That's kind of crazy. So, and listen, Brent bought the Red Deer Rebels.
Yeah.
And he's been a great coach. With 2-time World Junior Gold Medalist, head coach.
Me. Because he knew I was in Jersey.
He left Red Deer,
and
Brian went to Red Deer.
I know my shit.
I mean, isn't that amazing? Yeah. Hey, everybody, though, check out the book 6 Shooters, man. Give it to your kid. Let them know about 7 Shooter. We're writing our own book. We're changing the name. We're going to write our own book about the 7 Shooters.
We're going to draw Gary in that mode.
I know. But just let your kids, tell your kids who these guys are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? They should know. All right, this has been the Cam and Strick podcast. We want to keep it short here on the close because of
we've annoyed you enough.
The open went way too long and the interview was long.
It was good,
but it was great.
Let the dude fucking talk.
And
man.
He doesn't talk very often.
Man, that's why
I almost got emotional when Wayne Gretzky put the jersey over his shoulder. I wish we knew that when we had Wayne on for episode number 99. Could have asked him about that.
That's your fucking fault.
Did you watch the Tiger Woods documentary?
Yes, I did. What
do you think?
We'll talk about it next time.
Remind me that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time.
We'll talk about Earl Woods next time.
Oh, my God, yes.
Okay.
Oh, Andy, I told you about that. Okay, we'll break that down next time.
And we have a good guest coming up next, too.
Okay,
so
go. Don't do it now. Let's
already
get going.
booked.
These people are like fucking...
All right, Brian Sutter on the Cam and Strick podcast was... you act like they just can't turn it off. But don't do that.
I'm just saying, I don't want to waste my jam when I could go down on
I just asked you if you watched it. Save it for the next show.
I am.
The Cam and Strick podcast is brought to you by CarShield and CarShield.com. 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM, which is embarrassing. You'll save 10%.
Might get laid.
Structure the deal however you want it. If you want it long, you can have it long, or short, you can have it short, and it'll save you thousands and thousands of dollars. How about Bud Light Seltzer? All the new flavors, man. You got mango. Lemon, lime, strawberry, black cherry.
Who's the hot one? Oh, lemonade's like...
Lemonade is
lemonade and mango. If they were going to make love...
She's like Cindy Crawford.
I want to know what they both look like. What is lemonade?
Remember when you used to call me Cindy Crawford? You said I had a Cindy Crawford.
Oh, yeah, you had a zit on your fucking face.
It wasn't. It was a high stick that I got in practice.
No, dude, that was a herpy or a zit.
It was probably like...
Either way, it was not a high
probably
stick.
like a scar.
Hey, I know what both of those are. And I know what a high stick is.
Probably a scar from like a...
And I told you about what I did with my fucking cold sore I had on my fucking...
Probably a scar, like Jay Verity probably gave it to me playing against... when we probably had a battle against CDC. Talking? Jay Verity, by the way, is now a coach with the Arizona Coyotes. Want to give him a shout out, though, from Cahokia. You got to be tough to be from Cahokia, too. All right, but Bud Light Seltzer, BudLight.com, unquestionably good. You know all the flavors. Hook it up and send us a picture when you're in your chill zone. A Bud Light Seltzer.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course,
skating.
Bellman, Dan Bellman, it's his birthday, dude. Happy birthday to Dan.
Happy birthday.
Get to Troy right now and check out all the great vehicles. If you have an old car sitting in your garage, bring it in there, they'll buy it. They want it and they will buy it. You have bad credit, no credit, doesn't matter. You will be guaranteed to buy a car. They'll hook it up. Cadillac, Buick, GMC on one side of the street. Hey, on the other side, you got the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Cam's looking at that pink Jeep, small wheels, two-door with some flames on the side of it. Single exhaust on that beautiful
Jeep. Well, they
Jeep.
usually are on Jeeps.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Like you would know
settle down. I'm doing a live read.
Like you would know anything.
I'm doing a live read.
I had a Corvette.
Dude, I'm doing a live read.
Yeah, I know you are. Lord have mercy.
Bellman.com. BEHLMANN. 2 N's, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I gave him a happy birthday today.
Keep it handsome with my boy Mirko out of Montreal, dude. Guys, you need that shampoo, that conditioner, like in time for Valentine's Day too. Buy it for the wife. The wives, a lot of females that are listening to the show now, we love all of you. For your significant other, you need to buy them some Keep It Handsome. They'll like. What would the reaction? What would the reaction be if they opened this up on Valentine's Day?
I even put a fucking blow dryer on this motherfucker. I have the cul-de-sac. We've talked about this.
You
but
did
the front of my hair.
You used a blow dryer?
Yeah. If I do Keep It Handsome, I'll blow dry my shit. Then I'll walk out and be like, hi. And she'll be like, oh, hi. I go, can I have a hug? And I'll give her a hug. And she'll be like, oh, I want you in the sack right now. I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, fine. And she's like, I'm smelling my hair. I'm like, okay, I'll smell your hair.
And the Sutters
and then
are
we
listening.
make love. What?
The Sutters are listening.
We need love.
Okay.
I didn't say it.
Just making sure.
I
mean, come on. I didn't know where you're going to go with that.
I explored her body for about 2 hours.
Hey, get that Fight Ugly hoodie. Take a picture in your chill zone with the Fight Ugly hoodie. We want to see that. Mention the promo code Cam and Strick. You're going to save 15%. So let's see that. With the Fight Ugly hoodie, a portion of the proceeds go back to the Montreal Resource Center. We are always looking to support the Montreal Resource Center, which fights the bullies, because we're anti-bullying here on the Cam and Strick podcast, although Cam's got to learn a little bit of that, because the bullying stuff is like kind of
You bully me more than I bully you.
I don't think that's true.
No. I got pissed on. You haven't. Yet.
I have not.
Yet. Here's the deal. Bullies are everywhere. They could be 5'3" like Andy, or they could be 6'6" like me.
Yeah.
And handsome.
And
you could be anything.
Yeah. Okay.
You could be a bully. And if you are a bully sometimes, like there's reasons why you are.
Yeah.
Like your daddy went there.
Yeah.
Or your mom and dad.
Yeah,
I'm
you never
saying.
know. Yeah.
So
and by the way, me and Blay are coming around. We're getting along better.
Are you feeding him?
Me and Blay. Yeah, well, Blay, he tried to he got out of the house again yesterday. He keeps going across the street and visiting the other dogs and stuff like that. Stop doing that, Blay. Okay?
God, poor thing. It's not growing.
Oh, he eats meat. He eats meat.
Oh, he does?
Oh, I think it's
it's
like in the dog food.
Oh, the leftover meat that you don't eat, he gets?
It's in the dog food.
It's the air meat.
It's in the dog food. KeepItHandsome.com.
Poor dog.
You can always buy your hoodies over there at Amazon, too. How about black tie? When I drive black tie. I get what I want. I get it when I want it. You can drive exotic cars. You can drive luxury cars. You can drive economy cars. Dude, there's so much to choose from over there with our friends with Drive Black Tie. Dylan, Ellie, everybody affiliated. This is an amazing concept. Get the car that you want. You can have it for short term, like a weekend or maybe just a night.
Yeah.
How about a week or a month? Sign up.
Valentine's Day.
Get your membership now. Only 100 memberships are being handed out, and we're running out of spots. So let's go with Dry Black Tie. And listen, you can drive a vehicle you maybe never thought you'd be able to get into.
So awesome. Maserati,
and
anything.
The car insurance is included, taxes are included, and all that type of stuff, man.
Simple
All you do
stuff.
is pay for the gas.
Looking good, feeling good, man.
It's amazing.
Valentine's Day and all that shit.
Yeah, you need help with that, just let us know.
Yeah.
With Keep It Handsome. Or excuse me, Dry Black Tie. Always Victor Hockey. Go to CamandStrick.com. Get those hats. Order the hats right now. You mentioned the promo code CamandStrick. You're saving some money. There's a discount that comes with that code. CamandStrick.com. Go there today. Hats are made by our friends over there with Victor Hockey. Check out their site as well.
Yep. Compliments all the time on it.
VictorHockey.com. Oh, yeah, all the time. All right, this has been episode number 112 with the one and only Brian Sutter, a legend. It's been an honor here on the Cam and Strick podcast.